Ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Court is back in session. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is the man who has his own edits of the original Star Wars movie. The only difference being that the opening John Williams theme is now replaced by the Bill Murray cover from Saturday Night Live of the Star Wars theme. Mr. Drew Celestino.
I mean, have you heard it? It's fantastic.
Star Wars,
exactly.
Nothing but Star Wars.
Ironically, What About Bob was on the other night, and I hadn't seen it in quite a long time. I couldn't turn it off.
It's great.
Baby step to 4 o'clock.
I'm sailing. I'm sailing.
It's pretty great, and some interesting guest cast in that movie as well.
Really?
That you didn't. If you don't expect it,
it's been a while since I've seen it too.
The daughter went on to play Shirley Bellinger on Oz.
I still haven't
That's
watched
not
Oz,
weird at all.
So.
Let me think. There was someone else too that was another bit player, and I think he might have been on Oz as well. Querns is in What About Bob as well. If you haven't seen Oz, you don't know what I'm talking about. But it blew my mind. I like to think it's all in the same universe. Just putting that out there, which is kind of weird because that means I have seen a lot more of Dr. Leo Marvin's daughter than you might have ever thought you would.
Alrighty. So
that's not weird at all.
Here we are with our opening statement. Sir, how was your week?
Oh, what a whirlwind of emotions.
Yes.
It's been good, man, but I mean, I'm not going to bury the lead here. It's been dominated largely by, and I'm sure you're shocked at this, Star Wars.
Star Wars. We're going to get to that.
We sure are.
Oh boy, we're going to get to that.
So I went to a Thursday showing, opening night, obviously. I racked my brain through most of the weekend about it.
Yeah.
Without dwelling on that, that was Thursday evening. Friday we had game night. Played the Bob Ross game.
Yes,
this is a very cute game.
It looked interesting.
I enjoyed it actually. What a premise, and not just a premise, but a fun execution of a silly premise. You've got tools, you've got paints, you've got cards, you've got things you have to paint. But not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, there was a present that Jen got Thursday night because that was the birthday celebration of many people.
Alan Wader's birthday, my wife's birthday, and we had a little Christmas sprinkled in, but there's
someone else's birthday too, literally on that night.
We've talked about you, but yes, it was your birthday as well. Yes, many a birthday. It was birthday night over here, and I thank you for my excellent Captain America mug for Christmas.
Have you used it?
I have.
Does it perform well?
It does the job, sir. Seeing as my Aperture Science mug met its untimely demise in recent months, this is a welcome replacement. So
I couldn't tell if it was porcelain or actually just like well-coated metal.
I think it's well-coated metal, but I could be wrong. Either way, did the job.
It's kind of meant to look like one of those old camping coffee mugs.
It's got some faux wear on it, but it does the job. So I'm grateful. Thank you for that.
Cool. You got something else from me, too.
I got my Shinsuke Nakamura Funko Pop.
Shinsuke!
He's on my desk here. I have been meaning to take him to work, but when I wake up in the morning and I leave for work, I'm often like scatterbrained, so I often forget things, including my lunch sometimes. So don't feel bad that it's still here in the box, but it's going to make its way onto my desk. So that was Friday evening. Saturday was, once again, long, cold, dark kind of experience day. We're kind of getting some things up to speed. Not new songs, but new songs for our drummer anyway. So our little catalog of material is growing. We're going to try and dial that in so we can actually perform a show in a few months. And we're trying to also learn new songs as well. It's going about as well as you can expect. It's never fast enough for me, but that's me. Saturday evening. Wow, I'm good at knowing where I am at most of the time. I don't know what I did Saturday evening. I'm blanking entirely.
I don't know what you did either.
Well, let's just move on to Sunday. I went along. Exactly that. I went over to New York Beer Project for the Bills game.
Okay.
Hung out with my old man. Some good beers on draft. They do some pretty good stuff there. And their
First
menu,
time you've been there?
No, second or third.
Okay.
But it's not a regular spot for me because it is in Lockport, which is a bit of a drive. But it's close to my dad's place, so I was like, well, let's go there. They've gone through a few chefs over there.
Okay.
And I think they finally landed on a good one because they had a brunch menu going until 2 o'clock. And,
nice.
Sir, that brunch menu was very attractive. And the food I did get, I got an omelet with some hash browns. But what an omelet. Delicious.
Excellent.
Like, I don't just throw out delicious randomly or willy-nilly, if you will. This was on point. So I'm going to drag the wife back there.
What does the Drew normally get in his omelet?
I'm a sucker for a Western. Anything, but this one was beans, avocado. I think it had some salsa, IPA crema, which I was all about. Some queso. It was baller, man. It was flavorful.
You very good chance you probably won't agree because it's a chain restaurant, but Bob Evans has a fantastic Southwest omelet.
Jen used to be all about Bob Evans, and we would go occasionally.
I enjoy them.
For what it was fine.
It's breakfast food.
I would go there over, say, Denny's or IHOP.
You know what I forgot that I actually could have eaten for free on my birthday at Denny's? Forgot that.
Did you want to, though?
Oh, free meal.
Yeah, but Denny's. I had a Denny's phase. I'm long past that. I had a serious Denny's phase. Like I was going to Denny's like almost every day for a while.
Was it
college?
Pre or post 11 p.m.?
Pre.
Okay.
Well, sometimes post.
Yes.
It depended. And, post is a good time, too. That's a whole different state of mind, though. Anyway, anything's good at that point, and Denny's is open. So, anyway, that was Sunday for the most part. Yesterday was Monday, then really it was uneventful. I'm not going to get into any real wrestling-related stuff because nothing of real note or consequence took place.
Gotcha.
Today, we had team building day at work.
Team building,
because we're I have a very good team at my office of cool people.
And what did you do for team building?
Well, glad you asked. We went to see Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So I've seen it twice now.
So for team building,
yes,
you did something where you all sit in a room, don't talk to each other, and watch a movie.
Exactly. Well, we talked about it afterwards.
I can imagine.
So
were the Discords civil?
Yes, it was. Especially since like I said, I've run the gamut of emotions.
Yep.
And we're gonna talk about all of this. So that was my week. I don't want to dwell because I kind of want to get to said emotions.
Yes.
So let's just move the train along, sir. How was your week?
My week was pretty good. Short work week. I only worked Monday through Wednesday. I had Thursday and Friday off, and also Monday of this week off.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah, so today's my first day back to work. See, Wednesday didn't do much. Just kind of hung out, looked after the boy and whatnot. Thursday, that was Thursday. Friday, the day of my actual birthday, Julie and I went and saw Star Wars at a 12:30 screening.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually forgot. It was a pleasant surprise because I'd gotten the ticket a month or so ago. I'd actually forgotten that we got tickets for the RPX theater.
Ah, okay.
And that's a good time.
All right. I went to IMAX today, actually.
When the sound doesn't go out like it did in our Guardians 2.
Right.
It was fantastic. How was it? Was it IMAX 3D or
no? Just standard. It was great. It's funny though, man. When it's blown up that big, sometimes it's out of focus at times. It's a little blurry at times. Like they blew it up too big in some shots. Not all the time, just certain shots. Anyway, carry on.
So then we went and had a post-movie meal, kind of in between lunch and dinner at Carrabba's. First time I'd ever been there.
Oh, yeah.
Got a gift card for my birthday.
What'd you think?
So what? It was good.
It's a rock solid chain.
Yeah. I had a bone-in ribeye steak.
Okay.
It was excellent.
Their brick oven pizzas are very good, and their lobster rav is also top flight.
Oh, lobster ravioli.
Exactly.
Take two of my favorite things, put them together, ravioli and lobster.
Kaboom.
Can't go wrong there. Let's see. So then Friday night, here for game night, as you mentioned. I got a delightful little game from you and Jen for Christmas called Go Nuts for Donuts.
Yeah.
Done by the same people who did Sushi Go.
I love Sushi Go.
Yes.
So Go Nuts for Donuts is up my alley.
Enjoy this game.
All right.
I got to play a quick round of it with my friend Adam.
Similar mechanics?
Similar in that you are trying to acquire cards that score points, but the way you acquire cards is different from Sushi Go.
Okay.
But it's real simple, easy pick up and play. A lot of fun.
Cool.
So I'll definitely bring it next game night.
Great.
So, and then Saturday was an X-Wing tournament.
How'd we do?
Not well.
Yeah.
Well, see, I made a really stupid mistake in the first match. And then the second match just was just outmatched. Third match I won. So yeah, I was.
Well, you went out strong.
There's a lot of other stuff going on that's kind of occupying brain space. I'm not like contributing it to that, but
okay.
So yeah,
Fair
but
enough.
as always, I had a great time. Sunday was either Saturday night or Sunday that I got together with my friend Adam it was Sunday night. I got together with my friend Adam, play some games, played Go Nuts for Donuts, and then we played a match of X-Wing in which I broke out a new build that I'm working on, and so far I like it. Giving myself to the dark side because Kylo Ren and Darth Vader are in this build. I know, Lucas.
Well, that's a potent combo.
Yes. Yeah, and then yesterday was just kind of chill out, relax. Didn't really do much yesterday.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
that was it.
That brings us here.
Yep, that brings us here. And that is our week's. Dear listener, if you would like to tell us about your weeks, if you'd like to send us any questions or comments about the show, you can find us at the following social media locations. You can go to Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to Facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. That being said, Drew, we do have some emails.
All right.
These emails come from the Porg and the Crystal Fox of the Devils Do.
I see.
Mr. Alan Waiters and Mr. J. Gelsomino. I'll let them decide which one is which.
Okay.
So, starting with Mr. Alan Waiters. Drew and Carl, what is your favorite Christmas song?
Ooh. Can I not have one?
Really?
Yeah.
You that much of a humbug?
I just you know why?
Right,
here's why. No. Here's
okay.
why. Because every Christmas song devolves into the same thing. Like it's just as a musician, certain things appeal to my ears and some things don't. And I just get really bored by, oh, there's sleigh bells, must be a Christmas song. Yeah. Yawn. I don't know. I'm not into it.
Clearly, you haven't listened to Twisted Sister Christmas. Second greatest
Clearly.
Christmas album of all time.
You know what's weird? Is the Weezer Christmas album. I'm just going to put that out there. There is such a thing, and it's awesome, but also bizarre. So, there you go.
Okay.
If I had to pick a favorite, that'd be it.
My favorite Christmas song is probably the Sarah McLachlan version of Silent Night. Followed closely by the Twisted Sister version of Oh Come All Ye Faithful.
Okay, I think I know that one.
Yes, because like in the song it says joyful and triumphant. That song is certainly joyful and triumphant.
Okay.
So, yep. All right, Drew.
Yeah.
With the eventual reboot of the Fantastic Four, would you consider it a mistake to have Dr. Doom as the main villain? What Fantastic Four villain should be the main villain?
For the first movie?
Yep. Annihilus, Namor, Mole Man, or the Puppet Master.
Ooh. Well,
I don't think Puppet Master's strong enough to carry a movie by himself.
No, probably not. I don't know. That's a tough call because that's going to be dependent on the story and how you're going to introduce the team. And do they come in fully formed, or do we got to do the origin again? I don't know. Doom is tempting because it's Doom, right?
Doom is always.
But if Marvel has taught us nothing over the course of their cinematic endeavors over the last decade, it's that they can do a slow burn and
finish your appetizers before you get to your main course.
Sure. So, in keeping with the spirit of the thing, why don't we start things off with the Mole Man?
Yep.
And we can plant seeds for Annihilus by having, one of the B plots being Reed has working on his dimension portal, and the negative zone kind of gets introduced in Annihilus to maybe just sneak a cameo in or something like that. Yeah. And then, Doom can be the post-credit stinger, and, we're off to the races here. So, yeah.
I would actually go, clearly Lucas disagrees with you, I would actually go, obviously, first movie, you're doing the origin, do Mole Man, just because, it's also when you think of him as a villain, we haven't had something like that in the Marvel Cinematic U. For the second movie, I'm actually not going Doom yet. I think Namor would be cool as a villain. Introduce him as a villain, then spin him off into his own movie. Even though I think even after this acquisition, they still don't have Namor. I think he's with the Universal.
Well, is it
film rights wise?
Is it the same kind of deal though with Namor than it is with the Hulk, where they have the distribution rights to any movie that they make for him, but he can be in other movies as long as it's not his movie?
I'm not sure,
because that's why Marvel's not doing more Hulk movies, because Universal still has the rights to distribute them, and that's why Hulk is getting an expanded role in other movies, because they can't do another Hulk movie. They don't want to share it.
Yeah.
If Namor's got similar, restrictions, then just put him in the Fantastic Four movie, and we're good to go.
And then the third movie, you bring in Dr. Doom.
Okay.
Carl, would you consider doing reviews of board games on YouTube, or consider live streaming Duty Dice Day?
Ooh.
You know what? I'd really love to do something kind of board game centric, whether it be like YouTube series or what have you. It just comes down to time.
Yep. Everything in life does.
Just don't have the time. Like, I'm between, this, our regular game night, which I love, and like a couple other things. There are like 3 nights out of the week I'm not home.
Sure. I understand.
With a wife and a kid, that can tend to be a lot. And Julie's very understanding and very generous with letting me do those things. I think if I tried to throw a whole nother thing on there, it'd not work out very well.
Might not end well, huh?
Yeah. As far as live streaming Duty Dice Day, you know what? I'd do it if I could do it well. I'd probably, and I've always thought of live streaming some of our game nights, but for a live stream, you kind of, at least in my opinion, you want to make it entertaining for the viewer,
right,
as well.
Right.
I think it's kind of hard to figure out a way to do that while still enjoying the event in and of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I figure out a way to kind of have physically set something up to where we're live streaming it, it's like a good visual and whatnot, I'd probably just, ask you guys a week or so out, do you mind this game night if we just kind of do a live stream thing?
Yeah, you got to get everybody on board, and then it's we all have to kind of put our little performance hats on, as well as just enjoying the game night. I
don't see it so much as a performance as just an awareness that you're on camera.
Awareness is
Yeah, I mean, sure, you ham some things up here and there and whatnot, but yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love to do it. My friend Adam and I occasionally kick around the idea of possibly doing something, but again, it's time. So that's what we run into there. So, Alan, thank you very much for your questions. We appreciate it. Now on to Mr. J. Gelsomino. Because of the comment, I think it was last week that Jay had texted his questions, he said he was going to snail mail his questions.
Oh, I look forward to that
this week.
I'll watch my inbox.
He said he'd send a letter next time he didn't have time this week. So
got lost in the mail.
Drew and Carl, given the current way news drops in conjunction with this show,
Yes.
what are your predictions for tomorrow? He's given us some options.
Oh,
Disney buys out Disney.
deep.
Josh Brolin signs on to play Batman to further confuse everyone. Saga gets a new... Oh.
Go on.
Oh.
Go on.
Mm.
Say it.
Oh. This one kind of just turned my stomach a bit. I'm not going to lie. Saga gets a new creative team of Rick Remender and Rob Liefeld.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
No.
And Lion Cats gets pouches and a metal dew claw.
No. These are the options? That's it?
Yeah, what do we predict is going to happen tomorrow?
Brolin is going to be Batman.
I think Brolin make a pretty, viewers
Then he
sticking
can be
with the
Thanos.
old...
Then he can be Thanos, Cable, and Batman. Sure.
And a Goonie.
And a Goonie.
All right.
Okay.
Sure.
I guess so.
Why not?
And Jonah Hex.
We don't talk about it.
Oh, I just did. I just did, though. All right.
They did Jonah Hex on Legends of Tomorrow, and it was fantastic. Didn't have any...
Those TV guys seem to know what's going on.
Yeah. Carl.
Anyway.
If you could choose... Oh, this is a good question. If you could choose one sect of ninjas to have at your control throughout cinema, TV, and literature, who would it be? Oh.
I'm leaving this one to you.
All right, so let's think of some sects here. We're clearly most show relevant. We have the hand.
Yep.
We have the foot.
Yep.
Would you say League of Assassins?
I mean, in the movie, yeah. Wait, am I thinking of who am I thinking of? League of Shadows.
Yeah, League of Shadows.
Yeah, in the movie, yeah, they're ninjas. Yeah. They train Batman. He's a ninja. Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Foot Clan.
Foot Clan.
Original Eastman Laird comics Foot Clan.
Okay.
Because I mean, the hand struggles to beat Daredevil. One guy.
Yeah, often.
The foot struggles to beat 4 highly trained ninjas
and
who are not afraid to kill.
And they also count in their ranks Sam Rockwell, who poses the immortal question, regular or menthol?
You go to the warehouse in Eastman Laird. You find all your answers there.
Is it really Eastman and Laird?
Yeah, you never...
No. Oh, that's cute. I like that.
I think it's your.
No, it's Staten Island.
No, it's
East Warehouse.
It's Lairdman Island. That's what it is. It's somehow they got the one or both names of the creators.
All right, I'm due for a rewatch on that. You know what? Let's put that on the list of things that we need to watch on this show.
Ninja Turtles. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
All right,
I watched that couple years back. Holds up.
No argument here.
Holds up. Drew, whose hairstyle would you be willing to try for Wrestle Kingdom?
Ooh.
Minoru Suzuki.
Oh, God.
Hiroshi Tanahashi's Rachel haircut. The Juice Robinson's dread. Or Cody Rhodes' platinum blonde. I think if you went platinum blonde, a small part of me would die.
Yeah, probably. Let's just say I don't think any of these are going to happen. So let's just put that off. We're gonna put that to bed right now. But if I had to choose, we're going with Hiroshi Tanahashi's. Wait, which look? His Rachel look? Did he say?
Yeah, like from Friends. Rachel from Friends.
Who is that? Jennifer Aniston's character?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Would you ever do a Shinsuke?
I'd like to, but I think those days are over.
Yeah, no more growing it longer than it is right now?
Probably not. No.
I miss my long hair.
Yeah.
Now I come to think of it, I had Shinsuke when I was younger.
Did you shave the one side?
No, I shaved around both sides and back.
Yeah, he just does the one side. It's interesting. But
if I could do that again, I might.
I'm but a career man now.
I say that now, but I realize, hey, wait, you're 40. That doesn't play, even if you could do it. All right, so Jay, thank you very much for your questions. That about does it for the cross-examinations, which brings us now, Drew, to the case files. Thankfully, given everything we're going to be getting into later in the show, it's a very light week for the case files.
Alrighty.
So, starting off, not to bury the lead, but as we discussed last week, Disney bought Fox.
Sure did.
Yep.
Now, this deal, mind you, is going to have to go through some legal,
obviously,
looking over. Disney's going to hold a lot of cards, man.
Yeah.
And I brought this up before, and you can shrug it off if you want, but it is a little bit frightening.
Yeah, the more thought I gave to it, the more I'm like...
Someone kind of did the math, and basically they're going to control something like 2/3 of all media.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Now,
granted, there are benefits of it, but I mean...
Fantastic Four and Star Wars, how much do we love it?
Well, Star Wars more than for me personally.
Sure.
The potential of unaltered Star Wars.
I want that very badly, but at the same time, it's like I brought up, it's one less place for people to work, and all the stuff they're absorbing, are they all going to have to adhere to the mouse? Like, how is that all going to kind of shake out? Yeah, I mean, a lot of things I don't know.
I've seen people have been worried about are like, they're not going to do any more Deadpools or, rated R. Bob Iger came out and be like, we could do rated R superhero films.
Yeah.
It's not a problem.
They've raked in the bucks, so we're going to continue on with that. But that's isn't that such surface level fanboy concerns, though?
I'm
really
optimistic, only because, don't get me wrong, cautiously optimistic. I think there are valid concerns to be made. But at the same time, I'm stressed to think of something in recent memory that Disney hasn't purchased that they haven't instantly made better.
I'm agreeing with you.
It's weird to think that Disney owns The Simpsons.
That is weird.
That is really weird.
But at the same time, if you want to look at it Disney owns all the nostalgia brands, doesn't it kind of make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you.
But you can, given our subject of conversation that we're about to have shortly, fans might argue that they've already ruined one of their biggest acquisitions.
Well,
we'll get to that though, right?
Fan's gonna fan.
We're gonna dissect all the things.
Yep.
All the things.
So there was another announcement made this week that's very central to you, sir.
Oh,
we've got another G.I. Joe movie coming in 2020.
Allegedly. Yeah, sure. They can announce it all they want.
Yeah.
Let's see if it happens.
And apparently it kicks off the Hasbro Cinematic Universe.
Because we need that.
Yeah.
All right, look. You're talking to the guy. Okay. All right, hang on. I gotta frame this for everyone here. I'm a G.I. Joe guy. You know this.
Yes.
I was once a very ardent and passionate G.I. Joe fan. I
still are.
I still am.
Yeah.
I still have it's in my heart. I still love, I have an idea of G.I. Joe that I still really love, okay? I don't really follow the current incarnations of the comics because they're not really written. I'm just not into them. The versions I like have since been canceled and they're done now. Mm-hmm. But I still really loved them, and
some of them canceled before issue 1's even come out.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk about that because frankly, it doesn't matter to me. But the mythology and all of that Marvel series and the comics and the toys and all of that, very big place in my heart. I really love that stuff. That G.I. Joe movie, the first one, The Rise of Cobra, broke me.
Yep.
In a it messed me up.
Yeah. I remember listening to the podcast after you listened to that, and you were not you.
Dude.
You were so broken that you couldn't even rage.
No.
It's like you watch someone run over your puppy.
I don't want to think about that, but yeah, I guess. So that movie really screwed me up because it got everything so very wrong. The sequel, I went to with
I was with you
with great reservation, and it was okay. Not a great movie.
No, serviceable. Would you say
serviceable? And it somehow it managed to get a lot of the Joe stuff more right than the first movie. Like, oh, see, it's kind of doable.
Cobra was definitely better.
Cobra was better. Cobra Commander looked like Cobra Commander.
Cobra Commander was legit.
Yes. And we had Firefly, played by Ray Stevenson. Cool. My second favorite Punisher.
It had his tanks.
It had The Rock, which, it's The Rock.
Yeah.
It had Snake Eyes without lips. They fixed him up a bit. They did the whole ninja thing. The Red Ninjas showed up.
Yeah.
It was pretty
Jinx,
legit.
Who
Jinx
later went on to become Elektra.
Right. So, it did some stuff. Had Flint, Lady J.
It had the RZA.
Right. Yeah, it did. It had the RZA in it. But it wasn't great, but it was more of a G.I. Joe movie than the first movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, that wasn't that bad. This movie, apparently, we don't know. It's not. It's
supposedly a third. It's from what I read, it continues. It's G.I. Joe 3.
If I had to guess, if it is a 3, how do none of those none of those actors are coming. The Rock's not coming back.
No.
Adrian Palicki, maybe she'd come back for Lady J. Maybe.
Probably.
I mean, Ray Park. Yeah, I guess he could suit him up again. But it's been so long, and did that movie really leave a real lasting impression on pop culture? I'd say just redo it. Especially,
I think there's a place in the world for a G.I. Joe movie.
Well, here's the thing.
But just reboot.
Yeah, especially since it's going to tie into what now? The Hasbro.
Yeah.
So what? Micronauts and Mask and Transform.
Yeah.
Here's okay. So like,
and they're doing this in comics, and you know what?
I'm not reading.
Like,
yeah. I like
14-year-old Carl would probably be going nuts over this. 40-year-old Carl,
I like my G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
I like my Transformers enough. I'm not super into Transformers, but I know it. I grew up with it. I don't like them together.
Yeah, I think it works It worked in comics in the 80s when they kind of brought them together.
Okay.
Especially that issue number 1 cover with the G.I. Joes just blowing up Bumblebee. That is just a great cover.
Striking image.
Yeah. It doesn't, especially in the current, if you're saying we're going to do the current cinema incarnation of the Transformers with G.I. Joe, no, just
well, could it?
No.
Let me phrase it to you another way. Now that you've mentioned this, I guess, would the G.I. Joes make the current Transformers movies any worse?
No.
All right. Well, we got that at least.
Yeah. The past couple Transformers movies I only saw because they were on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
And there's that morbid curiosity thing to it.
You gotta learn to avoid that.
Like I heard in the last one, I guess the Earth is actually Unicron.
What?
Sure.
Hang on. What?
Yeah, that's what I heard. That the Earth is Unicron.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
We're just gonna let that lie. I got nothing. Yeah. There's nothing I can say. We're gonna let that sit.
I mean, it's got Anthony Hopkins, so they lend some credibility.
He's cashing checks.
He's like, truth about.
I've seen Thor Ragnarok. She was there, but was he?
Yeah, his wardrobe was literally what he wore to the set. That's his wardrobe.
He's got the Harrison Ford contract.
I'm amazed he let them put the eye patch on.
Anyway,
yeah.
Okay,
right,
sure,
yeah.
Great.
That's it.
That's all we got.
That's pretty much it, unless you can think of anything.
I'm playing the Zelda DLC.
Oh yeah, the Link has a motorcycle.
Not yet, you don't, but I'll get there.
It's in there.
It's you know what it is? at first I was a little underwhelmed by what the DLC was. It's like, oh, it's just more like, I don't want to call them fetch quests, but it's more, it's just more stuff to do, side quests and whatnot.
Busy work.
And yet, this game
sucks you in.
I'm back. I'm playing it again. I'm like, this. I love this game so much. It's so good.
Yep.
It's just such a joy to play Breath of the Wild.
You get more to do in it.
And my one friend was all ticked off about it. He's like, ugh, because the first thing you do, it is a bit of a challenge. The first thing they give you to do is you have to unlock the locations of like these. You got to unlock the locations of these beacons to show you more locations. So to do that, they give you an all-powerful weapon. It can kill anything in the game in one hit. You can only use it twice and it has to recharge. However, conversely, it reduces your hearts down to 1/4 heart, which is the smallest health unit in the game. So that means you die in one hit.
Okay.
And it sends you on a mission to 4 different enemy encampments that you have to clear out before you can unlock, what you got to unlock. So it's a challenge. It's hard. But it makes you, really test your mettle in all the ways that the game has to offer. So use your other abilities. Use your bow and arrow. Use your stealth. Use your speed. Do anything you can to clear out these encampments other than go in brute force swinging, because that will get you killed. So my one friend was just poo-pooed it immediately. I stuck out the challenge, and it was a challenge, but again, it made you, it used the game's functions to their like nth degree. Yeah. And the dungeons that you unlock as well in this portion, the shrines, similarly, they're very cleverly designed in that they make you utilize to the fullest extent everything you have available to you in the game to solve them. And it's just a joy, man. I'm playing it, and it's like, man, Zelda, I'm back in Zelda again.
Cool.
I love Zelda.
The Last Jedi DLC came out for Battlefront 2. It was pretty cool.
What did they include?
Finn and Phasma for hero characters. New Starfighter Assault Board, and a new Galactic Conquest Board. Okay. So Galactic Conquest Board is Krite. It's basically the Battle of Krite.
Yep.
And it's really cool.
Okay.
It's because like you can go up on the surface and just, take your chances there, or there's like a series
trenches
of
and stuff?
tunnels, interlocking tunnels and trenches that you can also go on. So it's a lot of fun. It's pretty cool.
Well, I'm looking at the clock here. I mean, shall we?
Let's go to a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
All right, let's do this.
Folks, from here on out, this is your official,
if you're listening to this,
golden seal of quality. Spoiler warning.
Yes, come on. You know what you came here for.
Yep.
We're going to give it to you.
There are going to be spoilers. We are going to spoil this movie.
There's no way to discuss it without it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about things that happened in the movie that if you have not seen the movie yet, will be spoiled for you. I don't think I could say it any more clearer. Define irony. Can't clearly say the word clearer. Spoilers.
Yes.
Spoilers, starting now. Okay, so I think we can safely say that this is the most divisive Star Wars film of all time.
It absolutely is.
I don't think there's any logical starting point with this review. We just kind of have to jump in, pick something, and it's just going to...
This is a discussion as much as it is a review, as much as it is a summary, and... let's just hash this out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
do you want to start? How do you want to start this here? I'm going to just go with my gut reaction.
Here's my initial, fresh off viewing it, gut reaction, which I generally don't like to make with films. We've discussed this before. I like to digest before I discuss. So my initial gut reaction, and I think you and I were kind of in the same boats.
Yes.
Because I'd seen it Friday afternoon, and then
I had seen it
over
Thursday.
At your place.
Yeah.
Good, not great. Certainly not what we were expecting.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
No.
And kind of jarring.
You can say the word. It's okay. Disappointing.
I wouldn't say disappointing as a whole. Well, there were definitely disappointing aspects to it. And again, this is all in line with my gut reaction.
And this is your gut reaction after the first viewing?
Yes.
Okay. So, you said to me last week, you didn't think I would like this movie.
Yep.
Little did we know that would be a common refrain, not just for me, but for, as far as I can tell, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Now, when I left the theater,
this movie spoon feeds you nothing. You have to really work to digest and understand.
We're going to talk about that because yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. So I went to it excited because the critical reviews were all stellar. I didn't read many because I didn't want to know anything. Okay.
You just, did what most people do. They check the Rotten Tomato score. Was that
at best
94 still? I think it's hovering around there.
And that depends how much stock you want to put into all that. But, okay, it's doing well, right? Great. I saw the movie, and I left the theater, and I was like, I don't know what to feel.
Yeah.
I'm torn up inside. Now, me being me, here I thought, well, I'm just a jerk. I hate everything, LOL. Because that's my rep. I hate everything. And then suddenly I'm getting texts from friends who also saw the movie.
Yeah.
And they're all asking me, dude, I didn't like it. What did you think? Suddenly I'm feeling like, okay, wait a minute. It's not just me.
Is this movie bad?
Well, I mean, I just, part of it, I'll be honest, it was kind of validating. I was like, ha ha ha, see, it's not just me. I'm not the one that's a hater. Look what they did. Other people hate it too. But once I kind of got over that, okay, and it's not about me here. I was shocked at how divided people were. Like, I knew how I felt about it. But when I got home, I started, then okay, I saw the movie. Now let's indulge in everything, and the spoilers and the reviews and people's discussions. Let's see what's going on. It was shockingly dividing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, after seeing the movie, I guess I could, but I never would have imagined it would be like this. Fans are like going off the rails here, okay?
Yeah.
I saw it again today, 5 days later. And in those 5 days, dude, I've read countless think pieces. I've been in discussions, if you want to call them discussions / arguments. This movie has like exhausted me in a lot of ways prior to seeing it again today.
Yeah.
But all I could think was going into it today, and I had this inkling after doing a lot of digestion and pondering and thinking, and okay, if I see the movie again, thematically, without expectations are going to be put on you the first time you see something, okay? Yeah. The second time, there is no more expectation. You know what is coming. If I see it again, without expectations, will it be better, and will I understand it thematically and, as a whole? Will I enjoy it more? Yes. The answer is yes. I did enjoy it a lot more. Does it still have problems? The same problems that I noticed the first time? Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And that is unfortunate, but at least I can pinpoint that stuff, and that stuff is, it just is what it is. There's plot and pacing problems.
There's never there's never been a Star Wars movie without either plot holes or pacing problems.
Now, No, I guess that's no. I mean,
like even when you think of the original, like Star Wars.
Oh, it's slow.
It's that movie doesn't pick up till they get to the Death Star,
basically. But Empire is pretty snappy, and Jedi 2 is pretty snappy. Actually, it doesn't really have a lull.
It kind of slows down. It slows down post Jabba, pre.
Yeah, fair enough, but not like this. I mean, honestly, of course, we're talking about the rebels' plan to slowly run away.
Yeah.
For the course of the film, which sets up the subplot of going to Cantobite, right? Cantobite?
Yeah.
For this Master Codebreaker subplot to give Finn something to do in this movie.
Yeah. But I mean, before we kind of get into specifics,
okay.
Just kind of going back to
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
There's
no map to how we're gonna handle this one.
All right,
because there's so much to go through. I think for the fans right now who are hating it, I understand their reaction.
I do,
but I think when you think about it, Luke kind of answered their reaction in one line. What did you think? I was going to show up and take on the entire First Order by myself with a laser sword?
Yeah. I mean, I guess we got to get that out of the way. We got to talk about that.
This movie tears down so much of what we understood Star Wars to be and reestablishes a new understanding of Star Wars, and that's not bad.
It's not. In fact, I admire it.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. The question is how... I mean... All right. It does that. I admire it for that. In fact, I would say this Star Wars movie is the first one that I can really remember that it has a lot of themes and messages to it.
Yeah.
I don't know that other ones have really had overt messaging. They've been adventures. There's been heroes. There's been villains. This movie says stuff.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just say it like in the story. There's a lot of... This is easily the most meta Star Wars movie ever.
We were very... I know that you and I were both concerned going into it that, okay, is Disney going to play it safe and just do what they did with The Force Awakens and just make a beat-for-beat reinterpretation of Empire, which I don't think they did a beat-for-beat reinterpretation of Empire, but they definitely captured the emotional tone of Empire with this. Because the good guys are failing in this left and right.
It's got some echoes of Empire, but not in any way...
And even echoes of Jedi.
Yeah, they kind of mashed the two together. Boy, how do we...
All right, let's just start at the beginning.
Okay.
Let's just, because, I mean, or else we're going to run around like, how do we get into this? Let's just go through the front door, which is the opening. And the opening is the Resistance is escaping from their base that they had in Force Awakens because the First Order now knows where they are.
Yes.
And... which makes sense because obviously you're going to be able to track where those ships came from and whatnot. You know, we never revisited Yavin after Star Wars. You know, it was kind of you got the feeling that after Star Wars, the Rebels didn't necessarily have a base per se, as they were just kind of like a fleet, just kind of going through space.
Right.
But in this one, like, we see evacuation, and the First Order shows up, and the First Order shows up with a big Star Destroyer.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the look of... In the previous movie I did, but even more so in this one, how the look of the First Order and how they were presented and whatnot. It was like much... It seemed much more polished, which I think in a lot of times in Star Wars we say is a negative thing, because the thing about like the original films is, oh, it's so great, it has that lived-in look.
Yeah.
I think if they had the ability in the original trilogy to make the Empire look as polished as they do now with the First Order, they might have done that, because there's a sterileness to it that kind of conveys what the First Order is.
Okay.
So the First Order shows up. And then we have Poe
Dameron
by himself, puts in a call to General Hux.
Correction, Carl. He puts in a call to General Hugs.
Hugs. Yes, hugs.
Now, can we talk about this?
Yes.
This humor exchange, I did not care for.
It was a bit much. I laughed at it. I enjoyed it because I like the character of Poe, and Star Wars is not without humor.
This movie has a lot of humor.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, a lot of it, actually, on second viewing, I don't find objectionable, and a lot of people seem to on the internet.
Yeah.
But this particular...
This one, I think the problem is they
go well
drew it out too long.
They drew it out a little long.
I think you do the I'm still holding line once.
Yeah.
And then kind of move on from that.
Yeah. Basically, I felt like, someone saw Guardians.
Yeah.
And I didn't...
And I also found myself wondering, I'm like, if they're allowing this in this movie, good Lord, what did Lord Miller try and do with the Han Solo?
That crossed my mind, actually.
I was like, what?
But to be fair, the movie does not continue down this tone for the whole thing.
No.
And Rian Johnson they asked him about that, and he said, look, there's humor in this movie, and I wanted to kind of put it on Front Street that there would be. Yeah. So we're going to get it out of the way.
And it definitely needs those moments of levity.
Sure.
So then we have...
got a cool battle.
We have a really awesome space battle. Poe clears out the deck guns, more or less, of the dreadnought. And then the bombers come in. Can I mention a little disappointment about the bombers?
Sure.
So last week, the new wave of X-Wing ships came out.
Mm-hmm.
And included in this wave was the TIE Silencer, Kylo Ren's.
Okay.
And the Resistance Bomber.
Okay.
And one of the abilities that the bomber can do is it can throw bombs forward.
Well, not here, it can't.
No, I was like, we're going to see him sling some bombs. It's going to be great. And I was just like, they're not slinging any bombs. Oh, look, they're blowing up pretty quickly.
Yeah, they get decimated for the most part.
We get a little, in this scene, we get a little bit of what we got a lot of in Rogue One, which is like the sacrifice of war.
Yeah.
The seriousness of war. And that Rose's sister, I forget the character's name.
Paige, I think.
Yeah, Paige sacrifices herself in the last bomber.
She's the last hope.
Yeah, to drop the
payload. So we're not going to cry about the bombs in space, huh?
That was
good, because some people do.
We're going to pause here for a moment.
Okay.
We've discussed this in the past. Star Wars is science fantasy. It's not science fiction.
Correct.
That being said, there are some things in the past that have kind of not sat well with us, like a Star Destroyer being, on the planet's surface, not in orbit. Because even in science fantasy, that doesn't work.
Right, but
there were a couple things in this that
here's the thing.
Irked me.
Here's the thing.
Dropping bombs in space when there's no visible propulsion thing pushing those bombs down. In space.
Let me pause
where there's
right
no
there.
Gravity. I know where you're going to go. You're going to say in Empire, the TIE bombers drop bombs.
Exactly.
When you think back to that scene, the TIE bombers were shooting those suckers down.
They were just dropping them.
You could tell like there was a glow about them, that they had some sort of propulsion going down.
I attribute that to the special effects.
That's what I'm standing by.
That's fine.
That's my stance. I'm sticking to it.
You can do that, but I would argue that it's a...
What G-forces pushed BB-8's head back when Poe hit the afterburner, which was baller. I'm not saying that scene wasn't pretty awesome.
Again, Star Wars physics are not
real
but still, physics. I know. And I'm not
What was making the shots from the Star Destroyer
in space?
In space.
I don't know.
That was driving me crazy.
I don't know. And then let me... you want me to really blow your mind? The conceit of the movie is that the rebels are running away out of range, right?
Yeah.
Well, in space,
no one can hear you scream.
If nothing interferes with something in space and it's in motion, it's going to keep going. So they could shoot at it and it'll hit them eventually. The guns don't have, limited speed like your ships apparently do. But we're going to
it's just little
Star Wars physics.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta.
I know.
You got to let it go.
It's just something that...
Actually, you know what? I'm going to make this point now because we are talking about it. So we're already at a stumbling block.
Yep.
This movie is about letting go.
Yes.
It's about a lot of things.
Letting go of the past.
But one major thing.
Killing it if you must.
Well, that's Kylo Ren's way to go.
Yeah.
But it's about letting go of the past to embrace the future. Now, that's a pretty noble theme. And I don't know that Star Wars fans were ready for that.
Well, and I thought about that a lot. Star Wars, in its incarnations, has always been a generational story.
Yeah.
Our generation has been classic trilogy.
Yeah.
As much as you and I don't care for the prequels, those are the Star Wars films for another generation.
Sure.
That they enjoy.
A lost generation,
like,
sure.
If you don't do that. That's their Star Wars.
And I'm sorry for that.
If you went back and saw, like, Star Wars in and of itself is not a well done movie. Like, the story is not original. The special effects made it landmark for what it was. But you can tell where Lucas farmed his story ideas from. Like, different parts here and there. It's like, it's kind of, what I'm saying is, like, this is their generation. This is the prequels were Star Wars that this generation could glam onto. I don't think they're a lost generation. This is just something that they could discover was for them, not from their parents. So there's that. And now we have this, post Disney acquisition, we have this new thing where we have two generations who have vastly different Star Wars coming together in this one. And so we got reacquainted with it with Force Awakens.
Yeah, that was basically comfort food.
Yeah, because that was Lucasfilm and Disney going to us, our generation, who were jaded by the prequels. Come on back. It's not going to be like it was. It's like the first line of Force Awakens.
I know.
This will begin to make things right.
Yeah.
Now they're like, okay, we've got you back. We've got you, and not in like a Connie way or anything. They're like, okay, you're back. You're confident in our abilities. Now we're going to start telling a new story.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. This changes so much while still being Star Wars.
Well, the thing is, from a story perspective, not a lot changes. The Resistance gets handled, and they're still plucky rebels.
Yeah.
The Empire's still the Empire. And no real gains are made by the good guys. So it's kind of like Empire in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, every plan the Resistance has fails.
Yep.
Every plan.
Yep. But why the movie's so problematic for people is that, and how we kind of go and end up in the same place. In the course of doing that, we have to shed a lot of old ideas and old notions and undo a lot of things that these movies have been built on for a while. And I get why people are not okay with that. And I'm even torn on how to feel about that.
Because you have been, in past Star Wars discussions we've had, you've always said, give me something new, give me something new.
Right.
I'm reminded of an old saying, when the gods wish to punish us, they answer our prayers.
Yeah, well, they sure do. We got something new, but we got it at the expense of the old, and I think that's what people are a little weirded out by.
Yeah.
Now, here's where we're going to get into, we're going to probably, this conversation is going in all directions, so I'm just going to throw it out there. This movie subverts every expectation you could have for what you thought you were going to see and what you thought you wanted to see in a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
So, the movie, though...
The movie could probably be... The whole meta philosophy, what they're doing...
Class, actually.
Can be summed up in Luke tossing the lightsaber over his shoulder.
Yeah.
And walking forward.
And I get why people don't like that. I understand. You wanted, your space battles, and you wanted laser swords and all that, because that's Star Wars.
And you got that.
You did get it, but you also got a lot of messages basically saying that's not how you're going to win, and we've been there, we've done that, and we need to move beyond. We can't keep doing the same old thing because then it'll
burn itself out.
It'll burn itself out, man. So it's so weird. Like Rian Johnson basically took every breadcrumb that J.J. Abrams set up in The Force Awakens, that delicious comfort food that was The Force Awakens, and he basically took the comfort food and said, nah, don't care. Not going to do that. Now,
I don't think he said don't care. I think he said we're going to address this, but not in the way you were expecting.
He undercuts all of it. Who's Snoke? Don't worry about it. Who are Rey's parents? They're nobody.
Which I liked.
I'm not. I'm not passing judgment. I'm saying. I'm just telling you. This is my case for Rian Johnson to all that mystery box stuff that JJ put out there. Think about even let's go point by point. First off, like you said, the lightsaber.
Yep.
This epic shot at the end of Force Awakens with her holding it out. Luke, take it. Oh my God, take the lightsaber. Meh, throws it away. Kylo Ren's mask. Vader wannabe. The new Vader.
Yeah.
Look at me. Snoke tells him, take that ridiculous mask off. And he smashes it. Kylo Ren just destroys it. He doesn't. So forget about that. Forget about new Vader. Forget about copying the old. That's gone. Like it's on the screen. It's right there.
Yeah.
Rey's parents. Snoke himself. All these ideas. And Brian, he just goes, no, we're not dealing with that.
It's almost like Kylo is the character who understands the most about moving forward.
Yes and no. He wants to be free of being told what to do, right?
And he also wants to be free of his lineage.
Yes and no. He still wants power and he still embraces it, and he still kind of wants to be Vader, right? Yeah. Kind of. It's hard. See, this is where it gets mixed because he also kind of represents. Well, in the Force Awakens, he represented, I think, that fandom. We're getting into metaphors here. In the Force Awakens, I think Kylo Ren represented the adherence to fandom and being a fanboy and how that can kind of go overboard. You can kind of turn into a jerk.
Yeah.
Here, though, he does. Yeah, he wants to bury all of it, kill it if you must, if you want to use his words. Snoke here is kind of the old guard, gatekeeper, saying you, the heir apparent to Darth Vader, the Lord of Darkness and yada yada, bested by a girl.
Yeah.
Snoke is the voice of the fanboy who could not stand to see Rey, our protagonist, be a female.
Yeah. It's,
because don't think that's not going on here too.
I know that one of the things we were talking about Friday night was how they decided to address Snoke, which was, we get no background on him and he's killed off rather unceremoniously. And I was
thinking kind of ceremonious.
Well, I mean, I was thinking about it, unexpected. I should say.
Sure.
I was thinking about it. I'm like, it's tough to separate classic trilogy from the time we've had the classic trilogy and all the mythos that's grown around it.
Sure.
But if you're able to do that and you go back and you look at Empire and Jedi, we got about the same treatment of the Emperor.
That's true.
We had like very little screen time in Empire. We have no explanation whatsoever to his background. I mean, obviously we know now because of the prequels.
Let's pretend we don't, though. Like, yeah, you're right. Just the original movies.
Yeah, at the time. And he is in like actual screen time, very little of Jedi. Only because like he's in like the latter half. That's what you remember. Great villain.
Yeah.
Fantastic villain. So is Snoke in this time. But like it's the same. And if I'm not going to get angry at the treatment of the Emperor in the classic trilogy, I can't get angry at the treatment of Snoke in this, because let me just this will be the last point and I'll let you jump in. I think a lot of our reactions to what they decided to do with Snoke and some of the other characters in this film are product of the era we live in. We've had 2 years of speculation, theories, and questions, and all the stuff that we have readily available to us now because of social media, the internet, things like that, that we didn't have when we were kids and the original Star Wars films were out. You had a couple of your friends who you would, maybe talk about for a little bit, but then you just were content with what was and went and played with the action figures.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Let me... Again, I've come around and I've come full circle on this movie, and it's disappointing that we don't learn more, right?
Yeah,
I get that, but I've come full circle and I don't care. But
yeah, I was about to say you're always the guy who's like, I don't need to know why the cool thing is cool. I just need to know that it's cool,
right? But I do get the disappointment, and here's why. Here's why it's disappointing. Screen time wise, you're right. Emperor, Snoke, similar. But, in the original movies, we knew we were fighting an empire. Having an empire inherently implies there's an emperor. In fact, he's named but not seen in the first movie. So, we get that there's an emperor, and we get through the actions of the empire that they are serving his wishes, and they're pretty brutal. So, we kind of, we know this guy's bad news. And then we get some, passing mentions in other ways about, how the Emperor tempted Vader and all that stuff. So he's not there a lot, but we get enough where we understand. And in those movies, that's all we had. That's all we understood was that story at that time. Here's where it gets dicey. Now you're asking us in these new movies, 30 years later, however long later it is after Return of the Jedi, there's this new guy. Well, it's not like we don't have the backstory anymore. Like with the original movies, we didn't know, so we just kind of went with it because that's what it was.
Yeah.
We know now. So if we know now, you're giving us this new guy, and you're just asking us to accept. I'm sorry, but that's harder to do.
Yeah. Given
what we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that is disappointing, and I understand. And fans, hey man, I feel you.
Yeah. But ultimately, I would have wanted some background too, but
again, second viewing, you know what? Fine.
Okay.
Let it go. Just let it go.
Because for the time he's on screen, he's great.
Yeah. Oh, dude, he's cool.
He's just a really cool villain, and I think ultimately his purpose was to turn Ben Solo to the dark side.
Sure. He's in service to Ben Solo here.
And and then ultimately he makes, through his abuse and condemnation, he makes Kylo Ren a much better villain.
Yep. So yeah, that's kind of my point. We had backstory before, whereas in the originals we did not. Yeah. So that's why it's a little unexcusable. But again, you know what? My second viewing, I just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
I take it for what it's worth, and I move on.
I want to talk about Leia.
Okay, we're just gonna keep. Yeah, sure.
We're jumping all over the place. Yeah. Is it possible that this is the best Leia's ever been?
Yes.
Classic trilogy included.
Empire Leia's pretty great. Let's not pretend she's not.
Yeah, no, she is great, but there have been very few times we've been able to see Leia as a leader of an army.
Yeah, no, she's firmly in command here.
Yeah, and I mean Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
I started tearing up second she showed up on screen. And don't get me wrong, I cried numerous times throughout this film. Because, as we've said, I'm an easy cry, and I tend to get emotional with films. But, just seeing her, knowing this is the last time, the scene with Luke, just was a gut punch. Because it's been almost a year now since we've lost Carrie. And, time, I don't want to say, I don't believe time heals all wounds, but time definitely makes them easier to endure. And it was just her performance and the way they used the character was fantastic. Let's address Space Leia for a moment.
God. Yeah, go on.
All right. What have I always said about stories? tell me a good story, I'll forgive you some sins.
Yeah.
Not 100% applicable in this situation, but when the TIE fighters took out the bridge of the command
people
ship,
are freaking out about this.
I was like, you know what? And Leia uses the Force to fly through space and get back to the ship.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's not really good at all. But you know what? I didn't want Leia going out like that. So fine.
I'll be honest, man. This scene is killing people, and talk about divisive. Didn't bother me the first time. Doesn't bother me the second time. I'm very okay with it.
Yeah. I mean,
fine.
I think it was the visual. Like, if you were to explain the concept to me, I might be okay. But I think it's how the visual was handled. Maybe because she moved through space so statically. Like, I don't know. Something about it just bothered me. But
I think it's just
I was like, there was that moment where, like, I was like, oh God, is this how they're doing it?
Yeah.
So early?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I know. I had the same thought, man. But I think we all did.
We also lost Admiral Akbar in that too.
Unceremoniously, mind you. Mentioned.
Well, the actor who played him passed away.
That too, but he doesn't get a cool on-screen death or anything.
You know what? You know who should have been Admiral Akbar instead of General
Admiral Holdo? We'll get into that because there's reasons why things had happened the way they did.
But but back to
sorry, I didn't have a problem with that scene, and I still don't. Some people are like, she could never do that before.
She's a Skywalker.
Have any of you watched Return of the Jedi? When Luke says, "You're wrong, Leia. You have that power too, and in time you'll learn to use it as I have."
We don't know if she's like trained or anything like that, but just the fact her lineage, how strongly connected to the Force that lineage is.
Exactly. I'm very fine with that part of it. It
was just the visual of it that kind of jarred me.
I feel you. I'm okay with it.
I think. I mean, the visual was jarring.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of blanked out there for a second.
That's
okay. that was Leia. I think Carrie Fisher's final performance, easily her greatest.
So, characters we do like from The Force Awakens. Let's think about that for a second. Force Awakens being a rehash plot that we've seen before.
Yeah,
but
introduce new characters.
It got by, and in my opinion, succeeded because of the strength of its characters and the actors that portray them. We like them. We want them to succeed because they're so kinetic and enjoyable, right?
Yes.
So here we've got Poe Dameron.
Yep.
I really liked him in this movie.
Yes,
he showed a lot of fire, a lot of spunk, and he had an arc.
I think of the characters that were introduced through Force Awakens, you can argue that he went through the most growth.
Oh, totally.
In this film.
He absolutely did. And, and obviously it was rough on him.
Yeah.
But he had an arc, and we'll get to that. Let's talk Finn.
Yeah, if there's a character,
I like Finn. I'm a Finn guy.
Didn't want him to die.
No.
Glad he didn't.
But do you kind of wish he did?
No.
Okay.
I don't. I honestly don't.
I don't mean it like that. What I mean is he spends the movie. Let's look at his arc, shall we? He wakes up. His first instinct is his first word is Rey.
Yeah.
He wants to find Rey. His arc from The Force Awakens was he escapes from the First Order. He doesn't want to be a part of that anymore. He wants to run away. He wants to hide. It's all he wants to do. He wants to hide and be safe.
Yep.
He wakes up here. Now, he gets in a little adventure in The Force Awakens, but he gets hurt, and his primary mission is still to get away, get safe.
Yeah.
He wakes up here. His first primary instinct is to find Rey and run away and get safe.
Yeah.
Okay? So he spends the movie running away.
He doesn't dedicate himself to the Resistance until the fight with Phasma.
He's in self-preservation mode until the stakes are put forth clearly on the table for him, and he realizes that he realizes his true calling.
Yeah.
He's not a traitor. He's not a coward. He's
rebel scum.
He is rebel scum.
Yep.
And he's proud of it. That's a great arc.
Yeah.
He gets a big moment in the end where he is going to sacrifice himself to save the rebel scum.
Yeah.
And it's undercut by Rose saving him, and one of the messages of the movie: we're going to win by saving what we love and not by fighting what we hate.
Yes,
noble message. I appreciate it,
and I like the character of Rose.
Yeah,
I like that she's a Star Wars character who has a prominent role, who isn't like a general or a warrior or something like that. She's a maintenance worker.
Yep, and she befriends a janitor.
Yeah, and she's got skin in the game, and that her sister died.
Sure.
And I love the scene where she first meets Finn.
She's a fangirl.
And she's such a fangirl, but the second she realizes he's trying to escape,
duty kicks in.
Switches.
Yeah.
I didn't kick anything.
Not you. Your sense of duty.
Yeah. She studs it. It's so great.
Having said that moment did kind of irk me because in terms of Finn's arc, he had this realization that this is his calling, this is his cause. He believes in it now, and he's going to ultimately die for it. He commits to dying for it. And then we're pulled out of that moment. And I get it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose Finn because I like him a lot.
Yeah.
But it felt a little cheated. Like it felt like that would have been a real satisfying, that's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. It would have been a good closure point for him there to have that journey. I
think when you look at it from, and I agree with you, I think like ultimately had they decided to do that, it would have been, a really, it'd been a poignant scene. But I think ultimately the storytellers may have decided at that point we've lost a lot of characters up to this point.
Sure.
We've got one more gigantic loss coming.
Yeah, we're going to get to that in a moment. You know what I thought of today about that, though? It dawned on me. You know who else had a similar 2-movie arc and then didn't really have much to do in the third, besides just be there?
Lando?
Han Solo. Think about Han's arc.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Scoundrel smuggler in the first movie, and still dealing with the scoundrel smuggler past of his life.
Yeah, Empire is the transition for him.
Until he embraces his heroic nature and falls in love with Leia.
Yep.
And he gets, I'm not going to call it a death, but kind of, right? Like, he gets they don't commit to it, but he wanted to die there. And if they would have killed him in Empire,
it might have, yeah.
So there was an interesting parallel between Han and Finn to me.
Yeah.
They had a 2-movie arc that could have closed that they didn't. So I'm just curious how they're going to treat Finn in the next movie. I'm curious about a lot of things in the next movie, to be honest with you.
Well, obviously.
So Poe, his arc. Hotshot flyboy.
Yeah. And the worst kind of hotshot flyboy because he's really good at it.
He is, but he also gets a lot of people killed.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look good on him. Honestly, it's kind of he pays for it with a demotion, but by the end of the movie, he pays for it with a major promotion. Like, he gets away with a lot.
Yeah, he does, but you see the point where he understands the lessons he's being told, where everybody wants to rush out and help Luke, and Poe understands that no, Luke's doing this so we can escape.
Yeah.
And his character's instinct has always been to rush in and fight the good fight. And for his character to make a decision to run, not only to run, but to knowingly sacrifice someone in order to run, shows the growth and the journey he's taken that started in Force Awakens that leads to the character he is at the end of the film.
Yeah. He's in charge now, basically, but to get there is a road paved with good intentions, but unfortunately, he causes a lot of problems.
The mutiny story just didn't hit. It didn't work.
Yeah, here's the thing about that.
It just fell. I mean, granted, it's something that didn't work, built on something that didn't work, which is Holdo's decision to not disclose the plan, which,
hang on,
I mean, I get in a military chain of command.
She has no obligation to tell him anything. But, and I thought about that a lot in my second viewing.
Yeah.
And here there is I'm fine with that, actually, because that's a big common criticism. She should have told him the plan. She didn't have to tell anybody anything.
Yeah.
But there is a point in the movie, basically leading up to the mutiny, right, Or it's actually the point when I think he discloses that Finn and Rose are out on this mission to do what they're going to do, and she doesn't want to know anything about it. Basically, at that point in the movie, Holdo had not apparently told, not only did she not tell Poe the plan, right? But none of her senior staff either. Poe wasn't the only one on that mutiny. Like, no one else, everyone else was giving each other nervous looks too. Yeah. Holdo apparently was holding out on a lot of people. If there was ever a time when she should have said, hey, everyone, simmer down. We have a plan. Let's all just take it down a notch. It should have been that moment when he revealed that he had Finn and Rose on a secret mission to find the codebreaker, yada yada.
Yeah.
At that point, she's now privy to their little gig. She should have come clean. She did not. And it gets more people killed. So basically, bad communication gets a lot of people killed in this movie. I want to save all the goody.
Yeah, save Rey and Luke to the end.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like some of the new characters we're introduced to.
What do you want to talk about? The diversion that we had?
Not just yet. Let's talk about General Holdo. I really like this character. Admiral.
Voice Admiral Holdo, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this character.
Yeah.
I couldn't ever get her physical dress. Always kind of threw me because you're in a military and everyone else is in a military uniform and you're in kind of a nice dinner gown. It looked nice and everything. But,
I'm not disagreeing. Did you sense a little spark there between her and Poe? I thought, okay. Did you notice? Did you notice though? It's kind of a little connection here. Go on.
Connection here. Going back to the video I showed you of Ian Malcolm and Nine Numb. Did you notice that Laura Dern was telling the rebels to run?
No, but okay.
Run.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this is something that kind of caught my whimsy.
Okay.
But no, I really enjoyed this character, and I think that given we lost Carrie Fisher.
We did.
I think you go back in and change that character's fate.
Okay.
You built this character up as being a capable leader.
Sure, yeah.
Who has Leia's trust.
I've tumbled down this rabbit hole. Go on. I
think you change her fate.
And what do you do in place of it?
Akbar.
Okay.
You let Akbar do that.
Okay.
Which, not for nothing.
Take a drink.
Maybe the coolest scene in the movie. The Lightspeed ram.
Hang on, before we get to that, I have things to say about that.
Okay.
The common refrain I see is that given what we know about Carrie Fisher's, her being dead. Sorry, she's dead. That Leia should have been the one to do the Lightspeed maneuver. But to that, I would say, did you guys realize, or did you not notice, or do you even know that if you did that, we would not get the scene with her and Luke in the end, which tore me up, dude.
Yeah, if we didn't get a Luke-Leia reunion in this movie...
Yeah, we already missed out on the Han one, so,
pissed.
Right. Okay, Akbar, sure. So the Lightspeed maneuver.
So cool.
Visually, and dude, Mike, the theater, that was the one theater, oh my god moment in this
moment.
Yeah, people really kind of flipped out because it was built perfectly. You're just wait, what is she doing? What now? And then it happened. Awesome visual, awesome gung ho moment.
Yep.
Here's the thing.
Excellent use of no sound.
Yeah.
Excellent decision there to have just be dead silent.
If this is a capable strategy of attack, we should have been doing this a long time ago.
Yeah, and does this ship not have an autopilot that you can get an escape
pod?
Pod?
There's that too. We'll let that slide, Carl.
Yeah, I know. That's one of those things that we gotta let slide. But no, yeah, I get. Can we just build ships to be big bullets?
Just take a Mon Calamari cruiser and throw it into the Death Star instead of
Yeah.
The whole thermal exhaust port, not much bigger than a few meters.
I know.
But
I know. I get what you're saying.
And I know that sounds really nitpicky, but
tell me a good story, I'll forgive you some sins.
I hear you, but it's like I can't help but think that. I just can't.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like I've always said with Star Trek. You know, if you're in a ship to ship fight, once the other ship's shields are down, why don't you just transport a torpedo into their
and blow it up
room and detonate it?
Is that not the Picard maneuver?
No, the Picard maneuver is dropping into like short warp slam.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
You know, right into the ship, so it makes it look like your ship is in two places at once.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So the light speed thing was pretty cool.
It was cool.
Pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think one character that didn't get better in this movie, that actually maybe got a little worse, was Hux.
Ha. I disagree. I think he's shown his true character.
I'm okay with showing true character, but I think maybe it's more the performance than the character was just kind of so over the top and borderline comical.
He's a wiener. He's a lackey.
I know, but
and I like that. He's a coward. And Snoke even says he's a peon, but he's a useful peon.
Yeah.
And did you notice when Kylo Ren wakes up after he has a little fight with Rey?
Yeah.
And Hux finds him, and Hux slowly is about to draw his gun, but as soon as he wakes up, he no,
nothing to see here.
Yep. What a wimp. I actually like that because at least they gave him a character.
Yeah.
Because in The Force Awakens, what does he do? He gives a big speech, and it's just like, yeah, but you're like 12 years old, dude. What are you doing with this big Nazi speech?
Let's talk about the casino.
Here we are.
Now, let's separate the purpose of the scene from the story. Just talk about the visuals of the scene, what you thought about it.
Okay. This is
because again, this falls in line with showing us something new.
It does. It definitely does that. Here's the thing, though. Yes, visually, it's neat. It's a whole. It's a casino on the planet, but the casino, and it's otherworldly, and there's games of chance being had, and there's aristocrats, and there's rich people drinking wine and toasting, and clearly the war is not affecting these people. It's clearly, they're unaffected. That's all good stuff, and it's all this whole sequence. It does introduce things that needed to be shown in this big narrative, I suppose, and it does tie into the ending, which we'll get to as well. But I think it's the conceit of how they got there, why they're there, that just felt wrong.
Yeah. I'm very divided on this because I think there were a lot of interesting visuals in the scene. That being said, it felt very prequel-y.
I think what it
felt like? It felt like the diner from Attack of the Clones.
Kind of?
Because here's something that we understand from real life exists, and it's not Star Wars enough, if that is like an acceptable term. It's can we Rostify this by about 20% more? You see what I'm saying here?
I guess
it needed a little.
You know what it was?
It needed a little more Star Wars, a little less polish.
You're right. No, I know the feeling that you're. I get you.
Yeah.
I'm on the same page. You know what could have helped that though with the thing, and this might sound nitpicky, but it's part of what we're talking about. What would have helped alleviate some of that would have been less CG little guys. The little CG guy running around putting tokens into BB-8.
I liked it. I was like, I thought it was kind of funny.
To me was
like, hey, look, it's the Monopoly guy, Star Wars version.
Did you know that Mark Hamill was the mocap for that guy?
Was he?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But to me, that was the prequel feeling. I was like, this is kind of, and then when they pay that off when he starts shooting
out the coins.
That
wasn't crazy about
that. Was
that
and then while we're just getting on the prequel bandwagon here. The only other scene that reminded me of something that would have been in the prequels, again with BB-8, was when they're on the big bad Star Destroyer dreadnought, whatever it was, later on.
Yeah.
And BB-8's driving the AT-ST, which conveniently has its little lid lifted off so we can see that he's driving it.
Yeah.
That was a very, like, R2 fighting other droids moment for me. And that irked me a little bit. But
I think if you don't lift the lid off it and just show him inside.
Yeah. But it just felt a little...
And if he wasn't, like, piloting it so precisely, would have been a little better. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
I only bring that up because those are the two moments in the movie that felt prequely.
Yeah.
Nothing else in the movie really did to me. Okay. Let's shove that aside. Canto Bight.
Yeah, I really enjoyed DJ. Benicio del Toro's character. Here's why I enjoyed him: because we were introduced to a scoundrel who is a scoundrel. He's not a scoundrel with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
Which traditionally, when we've been introduced to scoundrels, Han, Lando, they turn out to be scoundrels with a heart of gold and are redeemable. This guy. First off, I always enjoy Del Toro in pretty much anything I see him in. He, gave this character something a little different. He actually kind of reminded me a little bit of his character in Usual Suspects, which I'm 100% okay with because it's such a great movie. But like, even this character speaks to the meta of the film when he's saying like, don't be a joiner. There's good, there's bad. Just do for you. And
yeah, and I think that's again okay. I gotta get.
Finn says to him, he's like, "You're gonna pay for this or whatnot." And he's like, "You may be right, but for right now, I'm walking away with a heck of a lot of money."
Yeah. Okay. So number one, I feel this whole Canto Bight sequence is unnecessary and could have been removed from the film entirely. They could have found Finn and Rose something better to do on the deck of the ship, even to find a way to undo the cloaking or the tracking.
Yeah.
Before I continue, the Maz Katana scene.
Yeah.
Forced in.
I think like if you
we got to get her in somehow.
If you want to have Maz in there and you want to have the code, have them getting a code breaker, you have them go to Maz and get caught up in that whole whatever's going on at Maz's
or something.
place.
But I feel like the central conceit of you being on the run, if you're on the run, how do you have time and the ability to like divert this little side? Like, oh, they're not going to track a small ship. It's like, that's convenient. I guess that irked me a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, that's why I think you just take this whole subplot out entirely. Have it so like there's a bug on the ship and they have to find it, and there's a mole on the ship. Now you've got a little side plot where you can keep your characters central and do something else with them.
Don't make it that the First Order can track you. Make it that someone is telling the First Order where you are.
Sure, something like that.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't get to see,
Lightspeed bullet.
That, or
we get some depth to Rose's character.
She's an animal lover. I like that. I respect that.
Yeah. She
but
she let the dog horses things go.
Yeah, it was cute, but this whole sequence just feels weird. And we also get introduced to the slave children.
Yes.
So I guess if you took this whole sequence out, we wouldn't get that, and that's going to come back later. The thing is, I get the idea of slave children. You don't have to show me much to introduce that concept, because as a concept, I get it.
Yeah.
So without any context at all, the final scene of the movie, which we'll talk about, I would have been fine with that alone. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. I didn't need this 40-minute diversion in the movie to set up that.
Yeah.
But fair enough. C'est la vie.
So I think probably one of the last things I want to comment on until we get into like the big end run of the film is like the whole First Order chasing the Resistance.
There's more I can't do what I want to talk about. Sorry.
There's no tension there.
No, they're just slowly running away.
And what should be very tense. There's no tension. I think like, well, maybe you can do that better in that yes, they can track you through light speed, but you keep jumping, and every time you jump, there's like a small battle until you can get to a point where you can jump
that's
again.
a Battlestar Galactica episode.
I've never watched Battlestar Galactica.
Well, that's actually a plot point directly.
So what you're saying is we know it works.
Well, I don't know. I forgot how it resolved in Battlestar, but that's the exact setup they had. So they would jump away, and the Cylons would immediately find them, and they would jump away, and they would immediately find them. Like there was a whole episode where they had to jump like every 20 minutes. They had to jump away.
Okay,
and they kept getting found. Canto Bight. Back to that for a moment. What you just said about DJ, I didn't really care for him because great. We got to meet a character who's a scoundrel and stays that way. Fine. The other thing I'm really mixed on. And this is a tricky spot. The good guy, bad guy, buy from the same people message here, and the rich are bad on Canto Bight.
Yeah,
I get it. Okay, but this is Star Wars, and at the end of the day, we do need good guys and bad guys.
Yeah.
I don't need you muddying the waters with this whole, well, the good guys are just as bad as the bad guys. And this bugged me in Rogue One too, when Cassian kills that guy, the other rebel guy. It's like, whoa. I mean, look, I know the world isn't black and white. I know that the real world is it's murky. In these movies, I kind of like to just have. Let's just keep the good guys the good guys, the bad guys the bad guys. Okay, I don't know.
I think just to briefly touch on in Rogue One with Cassian, to use an analogy that might make it a little more plausible for you, Cassian is Bucky. Cassian's the one who has to do the dirty work so that the others don't.
Yeah, but again, I don't know that I want that in my Star Wars movie.
I mean, I can see that. I understand. Like, there's a military, and militaries have to make tough decisions. Like, going into it, I get what you're saying about the whole both buying from the same. I was always under the impression that the Empire just built their own stuff.
Right, yeah, and that too.
Maybe the First Order isn't to the point where they have that in their infrastructure, but but I always thought that the Rebels, did buy their ships.
Or they had allies that manufactured for them, and the First Order / Empire. I always thought their stuff was built again in-house,
because there have been numerous,
through slave labor.
I mean, even numerous like video games and whatnot. You have to attack this TIE fighter production plant or whatnot. So but that's
plot stuff. I don't want to get bogged down in it, but the message that it sends, that's what I'm worried about. And I was kind of like, I get it. I get what I understand. I just don't know if I need that here. I don't know. I think you're introducing some dicey stuff into a franchise that doesn't necessarily need that, but whatever.
Well, I think what this film and what Rogue One did very well is showing us that this is a war.
It is Star Wars.
Yeah. And,
it's not Star Peace.
Yeah. In Force Awakens and the classic trilogy, kind of it's like, remember, I think it was season 1 or season 2 of The Simpsons, where everyone gangs up against Nelson, like water balloons him, whatnot. And in the ending, Bart has a little PSA moment. He's like, wars are bad, except for the Star Wars trilogy. So they kind of needed to remind us that this is a war. And
well, I think the movie itself is illustrating that, but I don't know. That bugged me a little bit. And okay, so Captain Phasma's back.
Kinda.
Number one,
she's gone again.
Yeah, like
maybe the most wasted character in Star Wars history.
More so than Boba Fett. Yeah, I'd say more so than Boba Fett.
Yeah.
What's the point? We thought she was dead. She's not. She shows up again. Now she dead.
Yeah. Well, coin toss.
Come on, man.
Let me put it this way. I believe she's mostly dead.
Okay.
There's a difference between being mostly dead and all dead. No, I think in all likelihood, yes, she is dead. That's the end of the character.
Okay.
Do I think there's absolutely no chance whatsoever she could make a return in episode 9?
I just don't see the point of bringing her back at all. Like,
I don't either, but...
Well, I mean, thematic... Okay, put it this way.
If you're going to bring her back, give her something to do.
Yeah. Thematically, and again, this is where, this movie's got, you gotta let go.
Yeah.
Thematically, it makes sense that Finn would have to confront her. But to that, I would say, well, then maybe, JJ, you shouldn't have unceremoniously dumped her off or killed her or implied she was dead in the first movie.
Yeah.
But, and that's another thing. Let's just, this is a plot problem, and I don't want to dwell on plot because I want to get into, like, meaning and meta. I never fully understood the New Republic, the Resistance, and the First Order, and their scope in this new setup, in these new movies, okay? Yeah. Because in the first movie, it read like the New Republic is the new, we're good, peace. The First Order's, they're snipping around, they're these new upstart guys, they want to bring back war. The Resistance fights them, but they're not really anything to worry about. Well, I mean, they are, but they're not the Empire.
Yeah.
Okay? In the The Last Jedi, which takes place, by the way, like the next day or the same day after the end of The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
They seem to have grown in scope and power quickly. Now, granted, they destroyed the New Republic's homeworld entirely. So there is a power vacuum. And but man, they must work quick because now everyone's scared to death of them. They're beating the crap out of the Resistance to the point where, and the galaxy apparently is so afraid of these fiery upstart New Order guys that when Leia sends out the call for help, no one responds. Yeah. I don't get the scope.
Here's my understanding based on what they're saying is canon.
All right.
After Jedi, the rebellion essentially becomes the New Republic, establishes the New Republic. There's some skirmishes here and there. There's, from what I understand, there's a civil war on Coruscant, but they established the New Republic. What's left of the Empire, they make peace with a good chunk of it. Like, think of it as like the German army from World War II.
Yeah.
You've got those who are like conscripted in the service and who aren't like quote unquote true believers.
Okay.
And then you got your SS.
Okay.
So the remnants of the empire that they were able to make peace with and bring into the New Republic were kind of the, not the true believers.
Sure.
The true believers whatnot retreated deep into the Outer Rim to build up the First Order.
Okay.
At one point, they're about to make Leia the chancellor of the New Republic.
Okay.
But then the First Order finds out that Leia and Luke are Vader's children. And they release that to general public knowledge. And from what I understand, that destroys Leia's political career. And then she starts to investigate what the First Order is. And from that, the Resistance builds. So it's kind of like...
Well, okay, you know what?
It's not... It's
Let me stop you right there.
That's
fine.
There's a story there,
Fine.
and I guess in Force Awakens, when the planets are destroyed, like you said, power vacuum. And the First Order, despite losing Starkiller Base, still has power enough to quickly move into that.
Okay.
But I get your points there, man.
I'm sorry I asked.
Why? There's nothing wrong with that stuff.
It's all that ancillary plot stuff, and this movie is telling me not to worry about, which I've always advocated. The movies are the movies, and that's what I care about. Everything else, fine. Whatever. Have it if you want it, but I don't care. Show me on the screen. So the screen didn't show me the scope and the stakes necessarily very well, but that's okay. I get it now. The opening crawl does kind of say the First Order in the wake of the death of the Republic, they're swooping in hard. Okay. All right, fine. How do we get there? So
you asked a question, I answered it. You didn't like the answer, so now we're back here.
I don't know, but But where were we?
When will then be now?
When will then be now?
You want to just get to the big two about Rey and Luke?
Sure.
Just kind of go into that and run.
So everyone seems to hate Luke Skywalker here for some reason. Well, hang on. Let me back up. This is not the Luke Skywalker we all wanted.
No, but I am 100% fine with Luke Skywalker we got.
I've really been mulling my brain over this, okay? The idea of Luke closing himself off from the Force and becoming a hermit and avoiding the conflict and all that rings really false. This is the hero of the rebellion. This is the guy who threw himself into action countless times to fight the Empire. Now he is nowhere to be found. You better have a really good reason for that. I would argue that they do. So, okay, fine. He fails to train Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren turns on him, destroys the temple. Luke's a failure as a teacher. He decides, I'm out. I can't do any more. Okay. It's not the angle I would have gone with, but I'll accept it for the movie. Here's the big sin that I cannot get past. Luke decides that Snoke has turned Ben Solo in the training and all that Ben Solo's been tempted by the dark side. Luke Skywalker, hero of the rebellion, the Jedi who told his two masters, Obi-Wan and Yoda, that there is good in his father and he will save him. He won't kill him. Luke Skywalker, who goes onto the Death Star, throws his lightsaber away and says, I'll never turn. There's still good in you. And succeeds in turning his father through compassion. That Luke Skywalker sees darkness in his nephew, his sister's child, and is going to kill him. He says in the movie it was a momentary lapse and he immediately felt shame. Fine. But I cannot get behind that choice. Everything else in the movie, fine. I'll go with him being... everything else is fine. But that detail of it, I cannot get behind. I just can't. If you wanted to tell me that he sensed it, but didn't want to face it, or he tried to turn him back, and Ben Solo flipped out and tore the temple down and destroyed it, and all that, everything the same. Everything the same. But without that detail, I would buy it. I would get it, I would buy it, and I'm fine with it. But him having that moment where he, again, this character was going to kill his family over the dark side. He couldn't turn them back. Come on, man. You are Luke Skywalker. That's what you did. That's your big move. Ugh. That's killing me. And that's killing me because I hate the choice, but I love every second Luke Skywalker's on the screen in this movie.
I think, like, everything you're talking about is, and Luke addresses this in the film, you're talking about the legend of Luke Skywalker.
I'm talking about what I saw.
And that's part of the legend. But beyond that legend, you know...
Feet of clay.
There's still a man underneath the legend. A man who grows, a man who makes mistakes.
I know.
You can't, like...
No, I know.
To say when you're 20 years old, you're never going to have a drink. Ever. And you, like, a couple of years later, you decide that you want to have a drink. I'm just saying, like, definitives when you're that young aren't always definitives. And it's like he said, there was the darkness that he sensed in Kylo was greater than what he sensed in Vader. Which, like, maybe possibly there's a little bit of, galactic PTSD there, that he doesn't want to go through having to fight Vader all over again. And that's what possibly creates a moment of weakness. Don't get me wrong.
I feel you.
When they showed this in the film, I was shaken by it too.
Yeah.
But I understand that, just as he discussed, he said, like, I became a legend. And he's a man. Beyond anything else, he's just a man. He's not perfect, and he makes mistakes.
Yeah, I feel you.
Sometimes,
I know.
And a failure on that level, like, we're not talking about a student. We're talking about like his sister's kid and his best friend's kid.
I feel you, and I
understand why. Like, we need our legends now more than ever.
Well,
in the world we live in today, we do.
This movie has a lot to say about that, kind of.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, but Luke, I liked everything that Luke was in. I liked that Luke had said what I've been thinking about the Force for the past couple of years, and that it's not inherently good and it's not inherently evil. It is a natural resource. It is a part of nature.
Yeah.
And what you decide to do with it is what kind of sets you apart. And I love that he pointed out the legend we've built up the Jedi as.
Yeah. Is bogus.
And he's like,
they failed.
At the height of their power, they got punked by one Sith.
Yeah.
It only took one Sith to wipe out the entire Jedi Order.
Hubris.
I love that.
Me too, actually.
I loved it because I've said one of the things I always really liked about Episode 3 was that it wasn't just Palpatine tempting Anakin. It was the Jedi compromising their beliefs, compromising the values that they said they uphold. If Mace decides to take Palpatine in and not decides to kill him right then and there, maybe we're talking about a different story. But I like that Luke was just like, it took one guy to wipe out the entire Jedi Order, and this is what you're basing everything you've heard on, is just legends, and here's the truth. And just how he describes the Force. Like, it totally gets rid of anything the prequels tried to say about
definitively. Some people seem to have a hard time with the way it... people are having a hard time with the way the Force is treated in this movie for some reason, and they're also having a hard time with Rey's parentage. Again, there's a lot of smacking down of fanboys in this movie, and I'm okay with that. Yeah. Totally, actually. This is one reason why I like this movie a lot, is that it's very aware of the pressure being put on it, and it's very aware of its fan base, and it's also very aware that fan base is one of the most insufferable of fan bases, and it's kind of telling them to chill out a little bit.
I was very interested in your reaction to the reveal, if it holds up to be true, of Rey's parentage.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
Yeah, because you've always said not everything needs to be connected. I was hoping,
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah.
And the whole Force thing, everyone's kind of like, she has to be a Kenobi, she has to be Skywalker's daughter. And I thought that too for a while. She's got to be Luke's daughter, right? But you know what? That's folly. It was folly to think that, number one. Number two, some people are upset about the way that they handle the Force. I'm not. In the first movie, in Star Wars, New Hope, want to call it, whatever.
Yeah.
But the way Obi-Wan explains it, he doesn't make it sound like some mystical bloodline thing. It's just a mystical force. And it's between all living things. He says it, between all living things. Surrounds us, and it's just there. It just is. There's none of this, and that's one of the things about the prequels. It drove me nuts. All this codified business, and it just took all it, and the M word. I'm not going to say it, but you know the one I mean.
Midichlorians.
Stop that. Swear at me like that. All that. I'm so glad that this movie brought it back. It just is. It's cyclical. It's life and death.
Ironically, are you saying it's everything. Like poetry or rhymes?
Yes, I am actually.
No, ironically enough, this movie uses what the prequels did as far as like the science of it and the midichlorians and everything to almost justify what the prequels did. Because that is part of the hubris of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's kind of
thinking they fully understand and can codify the Force.
Once again, it's Rian Johnson kind of looking at the mythology going like,
let me fix this. Tighten a screw here.
George, buddy.
Ironically enough, this film makes the prequels work a little bit better.
Oh, no, I still think they're trash, and I like that this movie kind of defends them being trash. Like, yeah, no.
See, I don't think it defends them being trash. I think it points out the story they were trying to tell. I think ultimately the story of the prequels is good. It's just the execution is god-awful.
Fair enough. I kind of think that this is Rian Johnson saying, like, those movies tried to tell you something and it was stupid and it failed. Like,
yeah,
yep.
I don't think he has that kind of vitriol in him.
Vitriol, no, but there's a lot of pointed takedowns in this film.
We get a new perspective on the Force that's very welcome. The training scene between Luke and Rey, the one we've seen in the trailers leading up to it, you know, he says, reach out. She literally reaches out and he just kind of
rolls his eyes.
Has a moment where he messes with her. And I think that's great. But no, Luke, you saw someone who was beaten down by their own legend and own decisions and decided that it would be best for everyone if he was gone. And ultimately, whether or not that decision was correct, I don't think we'd ever really know. But just the way he's portrayed in this is
he's excellent.
Fantastic.
Mark Hamill's excellent in this movie. This is like the performance of a lifetime for him.
So let's talk about Rey.
Okay.
Rey again, fantastic.
Daisy Ridley's great in this movie. Yeah. Actually, Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley are both excellent in this movie.
Yes.
I know everyone hated on Kylo Ren. They still think he's whiny. I think Adam Driver is excellent as this character. He portrays him with so much tension and you can feel it coming out of him.
Yeah,
it's great. He's great, and he's great with her.
Yeah, and I'm so glad he didn't turn.
Good? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, because if you do that,
well, I told you killed Han, dude. There's no coming back.
There's no coming back from that.
Couldn't kill Mom, but he killed Han.
I mean, there's still, it's like with Skywalker lineage. There's always that one particle per million in you that's still what you came from. But the decision when you get that moment when you killed Snoke and the friggin' awesome fight
with the Praetorian Guard.
Oh God, those were a new addition that I loved and were.
Well, we always thought those red guys in the throne room in Jedi were cool looking. Yeah, but we never got to see them do anything.
Yeah, now
these red guys do stuff.
Oh yeah, that was probably one of the best lightsaber battles we've seen in a long time.
Well, technically not a lightsaber battle.
Kind of was and wasn't.
Did you know that in this movie, not once does lightsaber make contact with lightsaber?
Yeah.
Not once.
Yeah, because in the Luke Kylo scene, they don't.
Nope.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm sorry. I take that back. Once. When Kylo wakes up in the dream, in the flashback.
Oh, yeah.
And defends himself from Luke's. That's it. But that's it. That's the only part.
So that scene is fantastic. And then the audience, everyone, myself included, thinks that, okay, Ben has turned and now he's going to go join the resistance.
Nope. His choice is made.
Yeah. He's the hero of his own story. He doesn't perceive himself as being evil. He even says, like, Jedi, Sith, just let it all go. These are old concepts that we need to move past. And we can, you and I can kind of
rebuild the galaxy to get sound familiar.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's still got the Vader worship in him.
Yep.
Maybe not the Sith worship, but he still is his grandfather's grandson.
Yeah. You see, I mean, you probably don't because you hate them, but you see a lot of Anakin in him. Not so much Vader, but Anakin in him in those scenes.
Yippee!
No, not that Anakin.
That's all right.
So yeah, but Rey is, her character goes through a lot of growth in this film. I'm totally excellent with her parentage. If it holds up, totally fine with it.
If it doesn't hold up, I'll say that I'm going to throw a flag and say that's ridiculous, because the whole point of this movie is her self-actualization.
Yeah.
All this mystery about her, where's my place in this? Validate me somehow.
Find your own place in this.
She does.
Yeah, and it's...
Doesn't matter who your parents were.
Yeah.
You are you. You matter because you matter. That's a good message.
This film is, I would say, more, for lack of a better term, passing the torch than Force Awakens was.
Oh, yeah.
Because this film is telling us that this universe does not revolve around the Skywalker family.
And it doesn't, and more specifically, not specifically, more abstractly, its message is basically, don't define yourself by other people.
Yeah.
So Kylo Ren tells her, you want a place, you want a father figure. First Han Solo, then Luke. Forget about them.
Yeah.
And him, all this Vader worship, and he's going to be the Lord of the Sith or whatever he's going to be, and he's just, you know what? No, screw that. I'm me
going to
now.
get mine.
I'm going to get mine. I'm going to kill the rest if I have to. The whole one of the big messages of the movie is just define your own destiny.
Yeah.
Don't attach yourself to something else and define yourself that way. Mm-hmm. Be you and be the best you can be.
And I think all that is summed up in the breaking of the lightsaber.
Yeah, I guess.
The breaking of the Skywalker lightsaber.
It's
this thing that has been, wasn't in Jedi for obvious reasons.
Right.
And I still would like to know the story of how they got it again. Come on, Maz, tell us that story.
Wouldn't we all?
But just seeing that iconic symbol of the films broken in two speaks so much.
Yeah, kinda. In the movie of in a movie that deconstructs Star Wars, it literally deconstructs Star Wars. So they're great. They have those scenes together where they can talk to each other, and they're not even in the same room, but it's intense as hell.
Yeah,
great performances once again. How do we? Where do we keep wanting? Where do we want to go here?
You know what? You know who we've kind of left out that we should touch on.
Chewie.
Before we get to Chewie. Chewie is great. A little underused.
Yeah, I could always use more Chewie.
Like when he busted into Luke's.
Yeah, he just yells at him.
I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. I would have liked to see him bust into Luke's, grab Luke, and throw him up against the wall, and be like, "My best friend is dead.
Yeah,
and died to find you.
Yeah,
get your butt on the ship now."
Without getting, because he's not Chewbacca is not a main in any of the movies, actually. Well, no, not so much. In Jedi, I think he gets treated with a certain degree of personhood. Chewie doesn't really get a lot of personhood, does he?
No.
He's a sentient being.
Yeah.
But because he's, the big furry guy, they don't treat him that way. The movies don't present him that way. But I thought about that.
It's almost like the movie didn't know what to do with him because Han wasn't there.
That's problematic moving forward, is it not? But
yeah, and we see though that there's the developing bond between him and Rey.
Sure, no, that's good,
and I'm hoping that's something that continues on.
But you're right though about him. He as a character, he should have that autonomy to have that reaction. Like, Luke, dude, Han's dead. We're boys. Where were you? Where are you? Let's go. But he doesn't, because he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
do you want to talk about the porgs for a minute?
Yeah. I had absolutely no problem with the porgs because all the talk leading up to the movie, they're attuned to the Force, they're going to help Chewbacca with the loss.
I didn't deal with
the fact that, you know what, they're pigeons. They're Star Wars pigeons. They provided some levity. The scene where Chewie's about to eat one, and they're all just looking at him.
That was a bridge too far for me. But
I was fine with that. That's within what Star Wars has done in the past.
Fair enough. I didn't mind them the first time. The second time, actually, they kind of irked me a little bit. But whatever.
The film didn't try to make them Ewoks. They didn't try to say,
they were just there.
They're the indigenous wildlife.
Sure.
It's something we can sell a cute toy of. We got to pay for these movies somehow.
I'm on Team Crystal Fox, by the way.
Crystal Foxes were awesome. They were great. Even though I would say they existed solely for the purpose of showing a back door.
Hey,
whereas the Porgs were just there.
We got to.
But no, the Crystal Fox is like, I was trying really hard to see the scenes where it was like an actual animatronic and CGI. I couldn't differentiate anything. So kudos to the visual effects people. Can we talk about our scene I cried at?
Yoda?
No, not Yoda.
What'd you think about Yoda?
I was totally okay with it. Not only was I totally okay with it, but the moment I realized it's a puppet, and it's Frank Oz doing it, I'm good. I love the fact that, like, first off, Yoda burnt down the tree when Luke was all like, I'm going to burn down the tree, and then in the second he's just like, I can't do it, and Yoda's like, boop.
Since when can the Force Ghosts call down physical manifestation of lightning?
We can't look at this film and say, in the past, and everything this film is trying to do, and say, this hasn't happened before, ergo it cannot happen now.
No, you're right.
So what I loved about it is that, like, Yoda, first off, still calls him young Skywalker. Still treats him like a student. Still's bopping him with the cane. All that stuff is great. He explains to Luke that, like, those books are not what is important to you right now. You're beyond those books.
Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because, like, people were, I guess, are up in arms about Rey having the books at
she does.
the end of the film.
Yoda's a master troll, man. You hear what he says to Luke?
Rey is not at the point where she's beyond those books.
No.
Rey actually needs those books.
But she has them. Now. And Yoda even says to Luke, that girl already has everything she needs from that library.
So it's he knew. It's such a
master troll Yoda.
Yeah. Again, it's another scene I teared up at.
Yeah. Anytime I get, especially when he says, we learn from failure, yada yada. Then he says, we are that which they grow beyond.
Yeah.
And that hit me actually kind of hard. I'm like, oh God, he's talking about getting old. And then I realized, like, oh God, I'm getting old.
Oh, shut up. I literally turned 40 the day he said that to me, so shut up.
That hurt me a bit, actually.
No, that scene was fantastic.
Good moment.
I teared up at that scene. The Luke R2 reunion.
Oh, dude, that got me too.
Oh man, when
the whole thing starts with them. The whole saga starts with them.
When he turned on the
Leia projection.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Just thinking about, like, everything that led to. God, I'm tearing up thinking about it.
I know, man. I feel you. I totally feel you. And even says that's a dirty trick.
It's a dirty trick.
But damn it, it's a good one.
And just like the way, obviously, Luke we have in this movie is gruff and old and weathered, but the way he interacts with R2,
they're old friends.
He sounded like Luke from, like, Star Wars and Empire, and
his voice changes almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
magical.
It's a moment. Seeing that projection again, just knowing it's reinforced so much by knowing that we don't have Carrie anymore, and that definitely lends to it.
Yeah, but just in terms of the saga and the movies and what that moment meant, like, that's one thing I'll say about this movie, because it does have its pacing problems and stuff, but it's got so many moments that, and when it lands them, they land.
Yeah.
So I can't take that away from it. Plot and pacing aside, like, those moments land, and that one lands hard.
And we've got a couple more moments to get to. So
don't we though?
Let's get to the battle on Crite.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get out the one thing that drove me nuts about from this point to the end of the movie. The one thing that just totally took me out of the scene. Salt.
Oh, the guy who had to point out that
yes!
it was, yeah, you know why he did it? Because that way we know
it's not.
Here's why. Because they know, Ryan Johnson.
That scene was like 10 seconds longer than it needs to be.
Well, there's a lot of parts in this movie that are 10 seconds longer than they needed to be, but hang on. They did that because if you look, just to look at it, hey, we're on Hoth. Hey, the ground is white and there's walkers coming and there's a big door they have to get through. Hey, we're on Hoth. No.
It's salt.
Salt. That's what I'm serious. That's what that was. That was like, no, it's different. See?
I think that like once the speeder started tearing through it and started throwing up the red stuff.
Shouldn't it? Well, if it's salt, they should all have goggles on because that's going to burn.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway.
But this battle, oh man. I love the fact that.
Well, which battle are we talking about? The speeder battle?
Yeah, like the initial start of the battle.
Okay, they're in these rickety speeders, and we're doing the thing.
It's like, this is what we got to throw at them. And I love the fact that these speeders essentially did nothing.
No.
Like, they just blew up good.
But then...
They maybe took out a TIE fighter or two, but that was it. But it's like, this is all we have left to throw at these things.
And we're throwing it.
Yeah, we're throwing it. And I think, like, the visual of the planet was awesome.
Oh, it was very cool.
Was fantastic.
Very cool.
The contrast of the red and the white and how they use the red. The speeders, I thought, like, for as inept and rickety as they are still like a cool little visual.
Yeah. And then the hero shot when the Falcon shows up again.
Oh,
everyone! I mean, dude, it's we've seen the Falcon a million times, and every time it does a big moment like that, it's like, yes,
it's like, yeah, Calvary's here.
Yep,
Ray's in the gunner pod, and it's like, oh, I like this.
Yeah.
And Finn's like, they hate that ship.
That was great.
So they all chased. I love the walkers.
Walkers are walkers.
They're still like my favorite Christmas toy. That and I saw these walkers. I'm like, man, those are beastie looking. It's like they make sense as the next evolutionary step of the military design of the AT-AT.
Sure,
bigger, more armored, more armed.
Yeah.
And just like, it was great. It was just a great battle scene. And obviously we discussed like what happened with Finn and like the miniaturized Death Star cannon.
Well, things are not looking good.
No.
And when they don't look good and they're we're trapped in this cave, what are we going to do? Luke shows up.
Yes.
Comes in the back door.
Yep.
That we didn't know we had.
Nope.
We get that moment with Carrie Fisher, which is tremendous. Hands her the dice. And she tells him even that she knows that Ben Solo is gone.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm going to face him, and I can't save him.
Yeah.
I can't turn him.
But then he also says, no one's ever really gone. And that's when he hands her the dice. The dice from the Falcon.
Yep.
And just...
I wish we could have seen the three of them together, but that's okay.
Yeah, I get... I mean, ultimately, it's in service of the story, which is the most important thing. I think when you look at everything that happened in Force Awakens and you look at everything that happened in this film, to kind of get the three of them together ultimately just would have been fan service.
Sure.
For the sake of fan service, it wouldn't have serviced the story.
And I've made that complaint before, but you're right, and I kind of take it back now. Luke here looks a little different.
Yeah.
Looks like he got a little Just for Men before he left.
You know what? I figure I never saw it coming.
Well,
even when he ignited his lightsaber.
He walks out, and that shot of him going through the doors and staring down the First Order is epic as hell.
Yes.
It's just him staring down all the AT-ATs, and he's just standing there. Visually, that's powerful. Like, because we know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Right? What did you expect me to do?
Yep.
Show up and take on the whole First Order with my laser sword?
Oh, all right. I'll do it.
And here we are.
Yeah. So, Kylo, marking out in a way.
All weapons fire on that man.
Yeah.
And when they shot him, I'm not going to lie, dude, I thought, because given the, like, at this point in the movie, it's already tipped everything I thought that was going to happen on its head. And we were coming out of The Force Awakens, which had, we offed Han.
Yep.
I thought, that's it. That's how they're going to off Luke. Like, he showed up, and it's over.
Yeah.
No.
There was a moment there when I heard the kid from The Simpsons, stop, he's already dead. And there's Luke, don't forget to look at my medical alert bracelet.
Well,
nope.
The little brush of the shoulder.
Can I tell you, when that moment happened in the theater, like, everyone in the theater was going, oh man, no way. Myself, I didn't care. I went, yeah! I called out. I was like fist pumping and yelling. I was like, yes.
Did you wonder how he did it? Because I didn't. I still didn't.
I didn't. No,
grasp.
I didn't wonder how he did. I was like, he's the Force.
Sure. Field or something.
And then in the back of your mind, Han, that's not how the Force works. But no, it's just like, I figured this was simply Vader deflecting the laser blasts to the nth degree.
I thought Luke he is this powerful that you can't even shoot him anymore.
Yeah,
this is him to his
he's reconnected.
His super
to the
meter
Force.
is maxed out.
He's over 9,000.
Yes, so to speak. So Kylo comes down, and here we are. It's confrontation time. And Kylo ignites his lightsaber and tells Luke, I'm going to kill... The war is over.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill all your friends. You're the last Jedi, and I'm going to kill you. And Luke says, nah.
Everything you said is wrong.
Right. The war is just beginning. If you kill me, I'll never leave you.
Yeah.
And I'm not the last Jedi. Dun, dun, dun.
Shades of strike me down and I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Which also, now that I think about it, goes to answer your question about Yoda.
Yeah.
How can he call down the Force lightning?
Yeah. Yeah. And we see Luke dodge some strikes.
Yeah. In very, like, Chinese kung fu film way, which was awesome.
Luke is very versatile. Now this is when I noticed something. The second time. I didn't notice it the first time.
Yeah.
When Kylo Ren is doing his moving around on the salt planet and sliding.
Yeah.
He's leaving footprints in the salt.
Ooh.
Luke's not.
Oh, nice. I gotta go see this movie again.
Yeah.
I really want to.
So finally, Kylo's infuriated. He's had enough. Luke's gotten to him. And if you mess with me and you strike me down, I will. It basically tells him, I'm going to haunt you.
Yeah.
Just like your father. Oh, he twisted the dagger, dude.
Yep.
Twisted the dagger in him. All this stuff, all my complaints about the movie, this confrontation and all the things that Luke drops on him right here, and the power on display, I'm not going to deny. This is like, this is big stuff. I'm freaking out at this point. Then he runs Luke through with the lightsaber. But Luke's not there. It's not Luke. It is Luke, but it's not Luke.
It's a Force projection of Luke.
And how?
Yep.
And this is when Poe Dameron realizes he's buying us time. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Cut to Rey landing the Falcon because they have the beacon with her and Leia.
They find
and
follow the foxes.
What is the Force? It's lifting rocks.
Yeah.
She has to lift rocks to save them. Fine. Okay.
Yep.
We know now Luke is not there. He is Force projecting himself to buy time to save them, to save the Resistance, to save the Rebellion. He has projected himself across the galaxy.
Yeah.
And fooled everybody.
Yep.
We all swore he was there. Even 3PO saw him.
Yeah.
Master Luke. And he winks at him. Oh. 3PO gets no respect, does he?
Yeah, 3PO and Chewie are kind of in there. Don't quite know what to do with them.
That's okay.
Although when he was telling Poe the odds,
Poe
keeps telling each other to 1.
Yeah, that was cute. They get away.
Yep.
And as they're getting away, with Kylo Ren and Rey again have that connection.
Yeah.
And this is like, I had to explain this to someone, like, if they have that connection, then like, she still might, turn, or he still might. And I had to tell him today, like, nah, man, did you miss the part that he's seeing her, she's seeing him. She hits the button and closes the door on the Falcon. She's decided, no, you are too far gone. I'm choosing my own path. I'm choosing hope and the Resistance, and you are evil as hell. See ya. And Luke even says to him, see you around, kid. And that, the way he said that, shades of Han Solo.
Yep.
And then the part of the movie where I lost my shit.
Yeah.
Family show, I don't care. I dropped it. I don't care.
All right.
Luke, on the planet he was on, never left. Gets up, gets in his pose, his little yoga pose.
Yeah.
He's saved the day, but at what cost?
Yeah, because it's established early on when
Rey and Ben are talking.
Ben are first talking. He's like, "You're not doing this. It would kill you if you did this."
Twin sons, man.
So Luke uses the last ounce of his life's force.
Yep.
To make one more stop. That's to visit Tatooine.
Oh,
you never thought of it
I never thought of it that way. I just thought he was just seeing it that way. But either way,
and then
that's good.
And then
and the music, by the way, the classic theme, Luke's theme from that scene in Star Wars. Yep, I was rolling. I was rolling tears, man. That's Luke Skywalker. I wanted to be Luke Skywalker.
And he went as much as we did not want to see him go, as much as we love him, and he's kind of been a character that has kind of...
He was the audience surrogate in the originals, man. He was us. We wanted to be him.
He lit the darkness, and I know a lot of points in my life when things seem bad, I had him turn to.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was rough. But the way they did it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Perfect.
Yep. Pitch perfect. I loved it. Like, he went out on his own, and it wasn't like a battle or something. There was a harshness when Han died. Oh yeah.
Because like, even though you saw it coming, and like, we know that we don't have Carrie in real life, so we know that that's kind of,
we'll see what happens there. Yeah.
But the way they did it was just so perfect.
And Luke's gone.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be back as a Force ghost.
Almost certainly.
They got it. Yeah.
But he is gone. Luke Skywalker is gone, but not really.
Yeah.
Not really.
No one's ever really gone.
No one's ever really gone. And he even says in the movie, the legend, right?
Yeah.
The legend. So the Resistance is down to like 20 people.
Yep.
And Leia tells Rey, we have everything we need. How are we going to rebuild? We have everything. She says we have everything we need.
Yeah.
And then we get that callback shot to the planet. The Canto Bight.
Yeah.
The slave kids. And these kids are telling the story of Luke Skywalker facing down the First Order on the Salt Planet.
Yep.
We are through the looking glass.
Yeah.
Okay. So Luke has become bigger than he could have ever been as a living figure.
Yeah.
That's a powerful message.
Yep.
That's pretty heavy.
Luke has become in the fictional story what he became in real life.
Yes. The meta here is huge.
And then we get a glimpse.
Well, what has the message been of this movie the whole time? Forces everywhere.
Yeah.
Force kid, or whatever broom kid, whatever they want to call him, whatever the internet calls him.
Yeah.
This little kid gets chased out by his master, if you want to call him that.
Yep.
And he pulls the broom to his hand and looks up at the sky and sees a shooting star, or it may have been the Falcon, whatever.
I'll say it was the Falcon.
Okay. And the little subtle nod, that he's holding the broom, and he tilts it upward, that shot from behind,
Yep.
and he just tilts it up so it kind of looks like a lightsaber, and cut. That's heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. And if I may, I don't want. I'm gonna go ahead and poke, because I want to poke. Great message that delivered in this movie.
Yeah,
and the fans can't help but miss the point entirely and go, "Well, who is he? He's got to be in the next one." You're missing the point.
Yeah, I think that's
entirely.
Yeah, I think that's the byproduct of the time we live in, like I mentioned before with social media, because when we were kids, we asked those questions. We just didn't have an outlet to ask those questions too.
Fair
and we
enough.
didn't have an outlet that magnified those questions.
That's fine. I'm just saying, you're missing the point of the movie.
No, I agree with you. It
doesn't matter who he is.
A lot of it's like I said to you earlier. We wanted something different.
Yes.
And sometimes different can be very jarring, and you don't know how to react to it at first.
That's why my first viewing was, I left the theater like, I don't know what to make of this.
Yeah.
Second time, I'm okay with this. Can I ask you this? Both times I saw it, and I feel the same way now. This is the middle chapter of this trilogy. Didn't it feel like an ending to you? Like, it felt like this is the end.
It didn't feel like the ending of the story as much as it felt like an ending for our mythos. And now a new mythos is like free and clear to begin. I'm hoping that the next one starts with a serious time jump.
It almost has to. There is no rebellion.
Just open the movie with Leia's funeral.
Yeah.
Do that.
You got to address it.
Do that proper. And then 10 years or something down the road is what I'm hoping. Because I think right now, because the Resistance is so broken and dismantled, I struggle to think of a believable story for them defeating the First Order
in their current state. Oh yeah, there has to be some kind of time jump.
Jump me ahead 10 years. Show me a rebuilt, renewed Rebel Alliance, Resistance, what have you.
Yeah. But here's so
show me Jedi Master Rey. Show me General Dameron.
Yeah. And I think you almost have to get all that. But
show me their kid.
Here's the hey. Slow down. They just met.
There was a little spark of excitement when they met for the first time.
There was, and you know what though?
I didn't realize. I was like, that's right. They never did meet in the last movie.
But that kind of bugs me because, come on, man, Finn, he loves you.
Finn's got Rose.
Yeah, I didn't buy that, by the way. They knew each other for 5 hours.
The one thing, the one constant critique of that I've heard and that I agree with is that the relationship, we're all fine with the relationship, it just didn't feel earned.
No, but also, come on, man, Finn and Rey are the Finn and Rey.
Yeah, Finn's got Rose. I'm good with what do we call it? Pay?
I feel for Finn here because his first word is Rey.
Yeah,
he loves Rey, and they have great chemistry as well. This whole cast has great chemistry, by the way. Anyway, okay, that's fine. Without dwelling on what's going to come next. Here's the thing. Rian Johnson had a vision, and he got a writing credit on this as well, written and directed by Rian Johnson.
Yeah.
No committee, no whatever, right? And for the first time in maybe ever, this is a Star Wars movie that says a lot of things. doesn't just tell a story. It has messages.
Mm-hmm.
It's got meta narrative going on. There's a lot here, right? Now, after clearing the slate, if you will, and telling a pretty artful story, we're handing the reins back to J.J. Abrams, who made a great movie in The Force Awakens, but he made a comfort food movie and full of mystery boxes that Rian Johnson just completely ignored and said, this isn't what Star Wars is about. This is what Star Wars is about. Or this is what I think Star Wars is about. So now what are we going to do? Where does he leave? I almost want him to come back so we can finish this out.
No,
because I don't know what JJ's intent is going to be to finish this out. How are they going to reconcile their visions without undermining what this movie just did? I don't know.
I think ultimately, I've said in the past, with few exceptions, the Marvel films, Star Wars films, are films that do not reflect a directorial vision, but vision by committee. This one, it definitely kind of falls in with Guardians as to one that I think you can definitely make the argument does reflect a directorial singular vision.
Yeah.
And I think if he got Kathleen Kennedy to go along with all this, then she will be able to get JJ to kind of toe the company line.
But what is that?
You know what? It's been redefined, and I think they have plenty of time to kind of decide on what they want to do.
I guess what
Disney the Marvel films, the Star Wars films have never been reactive to fan outcry. You know, if they were reactive to fan outcry, we would have found out who Snoke was. We would have found out who Rey's parents were. You know, we probably still would have had a good movie, but we wouldn't have had the movie that we got. So it's, you know what? It's 2 years away. I'm just going to enjoy this in the here and now and hope that, you know, we get a good conclusion to this.
I'm going to hope
this falls in like with, you know, Return of the Jedi, Dark Knight Rises, like third movies that come after a game-changing second film.
It's a lot to live up to. I think the thing I'm worried about, or the thing I'm most concerned about, is like, where does this go from here? And what are you gonna like? What I meant about finality and like this felt like an ending. What more is there? Like, these characters don't have anything else to do. Like, besides fight each other for the sake of fighting each other for closure of the narrative, but their personal stories are done. Like, Rey has self-actualized. She knows her place. Mission accomplished. Arc closed. Finn, he has become a rebel. He's not running away anymore. His arc is closed. Poe Dameron, hot-headed, rebellious pilot, has learned, you know, leadership and the cost of war. Arc closed. I don't know what's left besides, well, we got to fight now.
I think,
and that's the pressure that's going to be on J.J. Abrams to figure out, how do you write a satisfying conclusion after we've closed a lot of arcs.
I think that, especially you and I, coming from a comic background, have the understanding that when an arc is closed, okay, that arc's closed. Let's begin a new arc.
No, I get that.
For Rey, it's Kylo Ren is still out there.
Yeah,
and there's that unfinished business. For Finn and for a lot of ways for Poe, you know, yes, they know who they are now. Now they have to go about rebuilding.
Yeah, but that's
and getting something to a point. Like, there's still, you know, it's not fighting for fighting's sake. It's fighting to defeat evil, and that is.
No, I know, but honestly, like, that's not personal, though. You know, that's just, again, that's the story. The story dictates they have to fight.
We just had our personal story. Now we have to resolve some. This one was extremely interpersonal.
Yeah.
Extremely. Now we have to get back to the business of restoring order to the galaxy. I guess that has to be done.
There is, but again, to me, that just feels like that's just plot mandated stuff. And this movie really, again, it just had this. It ended, and I felt like that's the end. That's the end of it. It's hard to explain what I mean, but
no, I get what you mean.
It really felt final.
I mean, it's interesting because, like we mentioned, there were shades of Empire in this, but there are also a lot of shades of Jedi.
Yeah.
Like, I was really worried when they were going up the elevator. I was like, this is straight out of Jedi.
And then he goes into the throne room.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. But there's shades of Jedi in that Rey realizes who she is, but she's still not a Jedi.
No,
she's still got a lot of training to do. But again, this all goes. We want to.
She's got training, but
see that time jump there.
She's got training to do, but I think that implies that she's going to be a trained Jedi that we've been accustomed to. I don't think she is, and I don't
think she is. I hope she's not.
That's the message. The message of the movie that she's no, and all that stuff is forget about that stuff. She is who she is.
Yeah,
and she's going to be the Jedi. She's going to be however she's going to do it.
I would say for right now, just enjoy this for what it is for right now, and we'll see. They haven't let us down yet. They've given us no reason to.
It's really hard to explain my feelings on this movie because the first time I saw it, I was really let down, and the second time, I've done like a complete turnaround on it.
Yeah,
and it's mostly because and that's with all the same narrative quibbles and the plot problems are the plot problems and the pacing problems are the pacing problems, and yet the messages and the meta narrative and the slapping down of fanboys and kind of learning to let go and the bigger picture stuff like Rey's coming into her own as a character, that kind of stuff worked for me in a big way the second time. And when I already, the plot, I knew there are no more expectations. You saw the movie, you know what to expect now. So listen to it rather than put your expectations upon it. And if you listen to it, it has something to say. And I've really come around like, oh, that was good. And I did like that stuff. And these big moments really do land hard. And
that's rare for you.
I know.
And I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm just when you form an opinion about something, I've rarely known you to ever change your opinion. Like, usually you have your opinion and you back it up. You rarely are just, this is what is, because you back your opinion up with like things that you believe support that opinion. And I've never really known you to change that. So I was delightfully surprised because the more and more, because we were thinking about the same way when we first saw it, and the more and more I've listened to commentary and the more and more I've thought more about it, like my opinion has changed on it. And I was delightfully surprised to see you say it was much better the second time around.
Well, getting into me, I have a degree in media study, and I'm really into metatextual stuff. I like Grant Morrison's my favorite writer, for God's sake, okay? Once I could get past the fact that this plot and story and these characters were not going to do the things that we all kind of thought they were going to do, and I got to examine the underpinnings of the movie, the layers beneath what you see, that's when I said, this is good. This is saying something. This isn't just, pew pew stuff.
Laser swords,
right?
Spaceships.
This Star Wars movie is saying something, and it's got a lot going on. Then I said, "This is good," and it's going to age well. I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think everyone's they're gonna pile on the hatred now because it's not living up to their expectations.
People are gonna come around.
I do too. Well, they will if that next chapter backs it up. You know what I mean? We don't know, like, Empire kind of got crapped on too when it came out, because it was this weird middle thing where
I was too young.
The good guys, well, I'm just, with the benefit of hindsight, we think it's the best ever.
Yeah.
But that's because, well, number one, it's a great movie on its own, but I could see why, as a sequel to Star Wars, in the immediate release, it's like, well, wait, the good guys didn't win, and Vader's is what? That.
Yeah.
But then the third movie comes out and says, okay, you went with us here. Here's how we tie it up. Now, does this middle chapter make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
The ending of Empire was not something that audiences were accustomed to seeing.
Right. It just ends. Like, there's no...
Yeah, at least from that type of film.
Sure. I already feel like, just on viewing it twice, that this is a movie that's going to get better with more viewings. So,
when it came out, when you, on your first song, you put a off-the-cuff ranking on Facebook.
Yes. My Deadspin style rankings.
So... is that ranking revised at all?
Yes. Because I think I put this movie last.
Yes.
I got to change that. This is getting bumped up. I don't know where yet exactly, but it's better than Rogue One. And I don't know. I might like it more than The Force Awakens as well. On second viewing, I'm gonna go to bat for The Force Awakens again. It's a great.
No, it's great.
It's
I love it.
Great movie. It really. And I don't. It's the New Hope. Yeah, I know it's a New Hope, but it's still great.
Yeah, it had to do that.
Right, and it's got moments upon moments of this. Like, this is great. This is Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I like this one more than that or not, but I think just for the big Skywalker moments, I might like The Last Jedi more. I don't know yet. But it's not my least favorite anymore.
Yeah.
And you keep in mind, when I say least favorite, I mean the prequels aren't even on the list.
Yeah. This might, I gotta watch it again. I've only seen it once. This might be as high as 3 for me.
I want you to watch it again.
Yeah. Like, my current ranking before Last Jedi came out was Star Wars, and again, this is personal.
It's all personal, sure.
Personal ranking. Star Wars, the original, number 1. Empire was number 2. Rogue One was number 3.
Wow. Okay.
Force Awakens was number 4, and Jedi was number 5.
Okay.
This might, with Jedi and Force Awakens being very close and interchangeable, this might jump in at number 3.
I want you to see it again.
Yeah, no, I want to see it again too. Actually, you know where I want to go see it? I want to go see it in North Park.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd probably be really great.
I'm telling you now, man, this second viewing really set me straight in a lot of ways. It's revelatory when you see it again. And just don't judge. Well, that's the wrong way to put it. Now that you know what to expect, listen to it. Understand. Yeah, feel. Yeah. And I know that sounds real, it sounds like I'm forgiving a lot of its sins, and maybe I am, because it does have a lot. It's not perfect by any stretch. It does have fundamental problems, but I don't know. It's different, and I think just because it's different, man, I respect the hell out of that. So yeah, I'm cool. I'm very cool with The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I think we both like it very much. Definitely go see it. Official recommendation.
Whew. Sorry for dragging this out for you, folks.
That was good.
But
no, that was good.
I don't even know that I've said everything I wanted to say about it, but that's all I can say right now.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. So yeah, I think that about does it.
All right.
For us here. Whew. What are we clocking in at?
About 2:45.
Oh boy. Well, it was worth it. We got a lot.
You get your money's worth on this show, folks.
Yep.
You should be paying us.
All right, folks. If you'd like to share your opinions on The Last Jedi or any show-related subjects with us, or ask us any questions to be read on the show, you can find us on Twitter at DevilsDoPod. You can go to Facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Since our typical outro seems somewhat out of place this week, we will simply say thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Please share the show, new show announcements. We appreciate it. And as always, may the Force be with you.